Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah.
Welcome to CNN's Crossfire. We've got a full show for you today. No,
yes.
You haven't dialed into the wrong YouTube channel. Yes, this is the ultimate Cleveland sports show. Yes, we're going to talk sports. But we had an opportunity to get the mayor of our fine city, Justin Bibb, in to talk all things sports. We found out he's a huge sports fan.
That's right.
So we're interested in diving into that. And also, there's a lot of intersections of sports and community, especially now, I think. I think now maybe more than ever. So we're going to dive into all of that on today's show. Thank you so much for making time for us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Look forward to being here.
It is great to have you here, and let's get right into it.
Absolutely.
I know you're a big basketball fan.
I am.
You mentioned that to us off the air, and everybody's excited about the Cavaliers right now. What was your reaction when Donovan Mitchell got traded to the Cavs?
I think I yelled in my office.
We did too, so it's okay.
And I really thought we were going to lose him to the Knicks.
Yeah, right.
But the fact that they pulled the trigger was huge. I was actually at an event with Kobe Altman for our Hoops After Dark program, and I said, look, can you get us KD, get us something? He was like, look, I got something in the works. Just hold tight. And then a couple weeks later, we get Donovan Mitchell. So really excited about it.
He's a man of his word.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you been able to watch any of the 3 games yet? And if so, what's your early impressions of it?
Well, when Bally's works, I can watch it.
Let's go, Bally's. Get it together, will you?
Bull went off on that.
But I went to the game on Sunday. And seeing kind of Donovan Mitchell lead the team in overtime, it felt like the LeBron-era Cavs energy.
I couldn't agree more. I was there too. The chance of MVP,
I think it's there.
it was crazy.
I mean, I think Spider could actually average 30 points a game.
I hope he does. I win that fence question.
With the 1-2 combo with Spider and Darius Garland, probably one of the best backcourts in the league.
No, I got to get to this. They asking all these nice professional questions.
It's about to get dirty in here, is what you're saying?
No, I wouldn't do that. But I am going to say, I have to thank you because you are showing people our culture. Now, the fact that you came in here with the waves.
Hey.
Does the mayor have a do-rag?
I do. I got two.
I got mine right here.
Yes, sir.
Keep it on you.
One day I was tempted to wear the City Hall. Like, it might drive people crazy too much.
Yeah, we're not ready for that yet.
The city ain't ready for
there are
that
some
yet.
that would say peace out. There are others who would be like, there we go.
You're kind of like, what is he? Where's that?
Exactly.
Is that a term?
Sport and waves going back 15 years, man.
I use Murray's. The sporting waves ain't thick enough.
You know, the Murray's got a little. That's a build up. Murray's a mess your pillowcase up.
Yeah.
But you got to wear do-rag.
Bull and I are sitting here going, what?
They confused.
All the
Google, what is a do-rag?
Mayor, fix this up. What's going on here? Because a lot of times he'll talk the street and he won't translate it for Bull and I, and we're just kind of confused.
We got to keep the waves tight. Right?
Yeah, so you do that by
Sporting waves. It's a gel that you put in your hair.
Don't lump me in with you.
You don't know what they're talking about.
I know things. I grew up in the city. You grew up in the sticks.
Oh, man.
So
you grew up in the suburbs.
Everybody from New York City thinks if you go west of the East River, you're in the Midwest.
Right.
That's all cornfields out there,
No,
right?
you grew up in a small town. You didn't grow up in
I
Cleveland.
mean, I would call Sandusky a small town.
That's a small
It's a small
town. Come on now.
I see what side you're on.
I grew up in Brooklyn. That's a city.
Wow. So sporting waves.
So, Bull, you explain it to me.
I don't know what the hell's going on.
That's what I thought.
You had me going.
I know.
So sporting waves is grease. You put it in your hair, you brush it.
Yeah.
It makes your hair.
Put a little water on top.
It makes your hair like stick.
And that's how you get the waves.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
You got to have a
very
good
cool.
barber.
Now,
I've never known.
Sporting
You gotta
waves
brush
is
too.
like that's what typically a lot of people use. However, I got coarse hair, so I got to use Murray's,
That's the
which
classic.
is like,
Oh, okay.
that's like,
Yeah.
I'm talking like your hair don't move.
Yeah.
And what,
Really?
It's like as hard as Crisco grease.
Yeah, it's like
No.
It's the only thing that works.
You don't leave it in, right? You just like put it in, put the rag on, sleep on it. What do you do?
Yeah, you sleep
And
on
then
it.
you certainly wash it out before you
Well,
go out.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, no, no.
during the day, it's in there.
no, you
Can we get Murray's as a sponsor?
I usually only take mine off when I leave the house.
That's it.
When I'm at home, do rag
You
comes
do
on.
it. So
No kidding.
It's on at all
Pretty
times.
much. I just
I
took
did
mine
not
off
know
before
that.
we started.
We're
Got it in his
educating you
pocket.
guys today.
That's right.
Educating.
Tyvus
Life
came in here
lessons.
one day, head on fire, right? He's like, yo, I'm going to look down. I want you to tell me what you see up here. And I'm like,
It's getting
"Ty,
bad.
I've seen a little skin.
It's getting bad.
He was freaking out. He was like, and so G
was
Bush,
putting
G got me.
fake hair on.
G got me
G Bush
together.
goes into this
What
whole.
you have in your hair?
Yeah.
What's making it go like that?
You know, I got 2 daughters now.
Oh,
and
that's
then
stress.
I'm married.
That's what I'm worried about in this job. I'm gonna lose his line.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
you're
gonna be
good.
bald.
No, you're good. You're
So-
good. I worked with Stephen A. for years. He used to measure the line between the tip of his eyebrows to the top of his head.
But politics will age you. You will.
Very
Yes,
quick.
that is-
I mean,
that is
Very
correct.
quick. Very
Well,
quick.
let's hope so, because right now, and this is meant as the most sincere compliment I can
Yeah.
give, I would card you if I was working at a package
I
store.
get that all the time.
That's true.
When I was running for office last year, I would get 2 questions when I was knocking on doors. First question I would get is, "Are you Leon Bibb's son?"
Yeah, people have asked me that too.
That's
I'm like,
me.
I don't think so. I would know that.
But the second question was,
Yeah.
"Are you old enough to run for mayor?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I turn 35 next year, so maybe if I don't become mayor, I'll run for president. But I'm 34.
35 is the age for president.
34.
How old do
Yeah.
you have to be to run for mayor? 21? 18?
I think.
I don't know.
I think 18. I should
But-
know that, but
It was.
I should
You don't, you don't look 34, by the way.
I get that all the time.
Not even
I can't.
close.
I can't grow the beard. It looks really weird.
Give it
So I
time.
just-
I'm trying. It ain't working out.
Hey,
This is kind of like
He's got patchy.
This is kind of like beaver fur. Like
teach
it don't,
you guys.
it
I'll
don't
teach
never
you how to
want to
grow.
lay down. It's messed up.
Bull just shaved his. I just cut my goatee
Hold on.
off.
Mayor, listen real closely. You can hear his facial hair growing.
Mine. That's
Yeah.
true.
Bull, by 3 o'clock,
quick?
he'll have a
Yeah, I'm
full
like a
crop.
werewolf, basically.
Must be nice.
That's
When'd you
my
start
story.
shaving? What age?
Like 11.
What?
No, I was shaving by 11.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
What?
Listen,
That's insane.
I'm Jewish. We tend to be hairy people. I don't know. Or at least I am. I don't know if
So,
everybody-
Mayor, why you've been in office enough time to sort of get the lay of the
months.
land, as
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah.
There are always skeletons that you think, wow, I didn't realize this, I didn't realize that. I know the snow removal was a big problem.
Yeah, it was bad.
And you made it priority 1, but you can't click your fingers
No.
and create these huge snow removal machines out of thin air.
Yeah.
Let's take snow removal off the table, because I would guess that was your biggest, wow, I've got a lot to do here.
Yeah.
What was number 2?
The decision we made on bars and restaurants closing early during All-Star Weekend, right?
Yeah.
That was probably the most controversial thing we decided.
I remember
since I've
well.
been in office, and I was balancing a couple things, right? Because I wanted all the bars and restaurants to stay open until 4, like they did during MLB All-Star Weekend, the draft, etc. But we were down nearly 200 cops, first and foremost.
Yeah.
So there were safety concerns. Secondly, I talked to the former mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms. She said, look, they had a lot of issues last year with All-Star Game. And so I took the right counsel from my chief of police, Wayne Drummond. I said, look, we're going to close at 2:30. I want to keep the city safe because as a young mayor, but a young black mayor, I know the scrutiny would be tenfold on me if stuff popped off during All-Star Weekend. And so I really wanted to prioritize safety. The city looked amazing. The city was safe that weekend. But I think the lesson I learned there was you got to over-communicate in this job, right? You got to go above and beyond to communicate why you're making your decisions, what's your rationale, even though they might not be popular.
Right.
And that was probably the earliest lesson I learned. Most
Erring
important
on
lesson.
the side of safety is
Absolutely.
always the
Absolutely.
smart play.
Absolutely.
Regardless of whatever
Because if
criticism
things
might-
wouldn't have been safe, who they would have blamed?
Exactly.
Me.
Yeah.
Yes.
You'd rather be blamed for being too
cautious.
too cautious
than
not cautious
than
enough,
not
yeah.
cautious enough.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
We need him doing the press conferences after the Browns game.
I don't think I can fix that.
You see that over? I love the over communication answer right there. They can tell
We
you
get no communication.
Yeah,
Browns
Browns
have no communication.
Listen, y'all
Here's
gonna
what they
stop-
tell us.
y'all
They're
gonna
working
stop
on it,
this.
and it's going to get
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna stop this. The Browns, we had a crossroads.
Yeah, these two are a little crazy.
Yeah.
We had a this.
We gotta start winning some games.
It's do or die this week. Like
Yeah.
this is.
I mean, I thought we had that game last week. I really did.
I thought we had 4 or 5.
But a lot of games like that.
We should be what was it? What are we, 2 and 5 right now?
Yeah, we're 2 and 5. I think at worst we should be
4
5
and 1.
2.
Yeah,
at 5 and 2.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
if we had Deshaun Watson, we're probably 6 and 1. I
Probably.
think. What about the Guardians run? How much fun was that
was
for
magical. Look, I grew up loving baseball, playing baseball as a kid.
What position?
I was center field and pitcher.
Hey, okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Willie Mays Hayes, man.
I love that.
But like that team of Jim Thome, Kenny Lofton, Paul Sorrento, Omar Vizquel, Carlos Baegra, like
You were
I
just a young
loved
kid.
I was like 10, 11.
Right.
Man.
And so seeing that magic again in Cleveland was awesome. I was at the game, that Saturday night game, when Oscar Gonzalez hit that single to bring those 2 runs in.
Yeah.
It felt like the 90s Indians all over again.
It really did.
With the Guardians run this year.
Do you think the teams are the teams contributing enough to the city that they play in terms of just doing positive things in the community? Do you feel like they're doing
I
their
absolutely
part?
believe so.
Okay.
We've done a lot of work this summer with the Cleveland Cavs on our violence prevention work. We brought back midnight basketball this year.
Tell us about that for those that don't know.
So in the early 1990s, President Bill Clinton had this program called Midnight Basketball,
Right.
where folks would play basketball at night and not just play ball, but they would bring job training, financial literacy training, life skills training to the neighborhoods. So we brought that back this summer through a pilot program with the Cavs. Over 100 young men of color, ages 18 to 25, playing ball all across the city. And it worked out so well that 5 of the student leaders, got tryouts for the G League for the Cavs this year. 5.
Wow. No kidding.
Right?
And that's not even touching on the real mission, which is
Absolutely.
to bring some services to these young men that
Absolutely.
desperately need
Yeah.
them.
A lot of the kids got jobs on the spot at
Wow.
our human resource fair.
So that will definitely continue.
We want to expand that year round.
Right.
For next year. I know the Browns have done some amazing things with criminal justice reform and looking at how do we do a better job of restoring trust between police and residents. And the Guardians as well have been a big champion of that effort too. So we got some great sports teams that do an amazing job of contributing to the civic community in almost every
Wait a
way.
minute. Go back to that midnight basketball. You
Yeah.
say 18 to 25?
I believe so.
Can you extend it to 28? Because, technically, I be telling these guys that. You
still got some games?
So I played football, but of course.
He could be a major
I
leaguer
could
if he wanted.
anything. So they getting G League tryouts.
They get
so,
G League tryouts.
Back in the day.
We can take a look at it for next year. She coming to tryouts next year. man.
I would say you could maybe sneak in as 25, but those gray hairs that are cropping up in your
Coming
beard
up.
now,
They,
you
nah,
can't do that
see,
anymore.
look, hold on now. See, you hate. Yeah, get a close up on that. See that? I got to have my barber take care of that.
Man,
He was joining us remote last week, and he stopped midstream. He looked real close, reached in the camera. He's like, "Man, I'm getting some gray hairs."
that's it. That's
I
it.
come at you fast.
Yes, it
That's
does.
true. You're getting old now.
There was a
You're getting old.
program that I grew up on with in Stark County, and it was called JTPA, Job Partnership Training, and it was a program that really, I think, revitalized the city of Canton, because what it did, it basically had all of the kids between the ages of 14 and 17 while you were in high school. You got an opportunity to go to different places, and you would literally interview for jobs that may happen in the city, whether it be the park department, whether you, if your grades were lower, they would actually pay you to go to summer school to get additional skills for maybe if you had high school issues or maybe you couldn't pass a proficiency, they would actually pay you as your job to get those grades up. If you were a little higher, you got to work in the city office, the city hall, and you did some things that were little high level. But I thought it was great because it taught kids the value of knowing how to interview, knowing how to put a resume together, what should you wear. It also helped you out in terms of financial literacy. You got a check with your name on it, and you took that check and you went and you deposited it, and your parents had to sign for it, obviously. But just learning how to balance a checkbook, a debit card, all those different things, and that program went away. And I think you could talk to a lot of the people that are in the city of Canton, and it really hurt the city because when those kids weren't doing that,
They get caught up in the
They're
streets.
doing other things.
Yeah.
What are some things and initiatives that you may be bringing to the table that can address kids and financial literacy and learning to work and earn a living at a younger age?
Well, what I'm really discovering as mayor is that there are a lot of good programs out there, but the issue is a lot of our parents and children don't know they exist, right? And so we need to do a better job as a city of raising awareness. We have junior achievement that goes into our middle schools and high schools to teach kids about the stock market, how to balance a checkbook, how to buy crypto, what is crypto, all those things. And so we need to do a better job of raising awareness about those programs. We have Youth Opportunities Unlimited, which we fund and support in Cleveland to give youth summer jobs. I want to give young people jobs year round, right? Because you learn by doing. That's how I learned the best,
Facts.
right? I can read and study all day, but if you learn how not to balance a checkbook, then you learn how to balance it the next time, right? That's right. By doing it. And so we need to do a better job of really changing how we think about education now, because what we're seeing in this pandemic is that a lot of the students in CMSD high schools during COVID dropped out to work at McDonald's, Amazon, Target, because they're getting paid $20 an hour.
Yeah.
So I'm making bread now to put food on the table for my family to get us out of poverty. I don't have time to be in this classroom reading a book. So how do we change the future of education so kids can be engaged and have a job they can go to when they graduate, or be ready for college when they graduate from high school? But every child learns differently, so we must do a better job of creating those individual pathways for young people across our cities.
Speaking of things that are important for young people, and just the city in general, I mean, this is not a unique problem to Cleveland, but the voter turnout in the city of Cleveland is really low. And to me, and I've talked with one younger member of our panel about voting and how important it is.
We're working on him.
Absolutely.
Are you
Or
registered
else
to
I'm
vote?
not coming back on this
Yes,
show.
I'm registered to vote.
Civic duty, young man.
I talk to him all the time about it, and it's important. And I'm not even telling people who to vote for. People know what I vote for, whatever. But it's important that young people vote, and not just young people, everybody. But getting people to go out and vote, and getting people in the city of Cleveland to go out and vote. How do we do it as a community? How do we get other people? How do we get the turnout in the city of Cleveland and not have people what's the point?
Because it
if I
has
been
been historically
matter.
low in Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken.
It has.
And compared to other urban areas, it's below the average.
I think there are a couple of things. Number one, we got to start early. I registered to vote when I was a junior in high school because I qualified for the 2004, I'm dating myself, presidential election when I turned 18 in high school. So I cast my first ballot as a senior in high school.
Wow.
When I voted for John Kerry for president, right? Because my high school, Trinity High School, really prioritized civics education. Why voting matters for how your schools
Are
look
we still
like.
doing that in your view?
Not a good enough job.
Yeah.
Right? We're doing it in pockets, but we're not doing a good enough job. Second thing I would say is we got to give people a reason to vote, right?
Make them care.
Yeah, if the conditions of your neighborhood are changing, why would I vote for my member of city council? Why would I vote for my mayor? That's why I ran for mayor last year, because I felt that the residents of Cleveland deserved better from their local government. Agreed. And I knocked on thousands and thousands and thousands of doors last year, and you'd be surprised how many residents told me that this is the first time any candidate for public office ever knocked on their door and asked for their vote. It really ever happens.
Yeah, the door-to-door is almost gone.
Absolutely. And so what I've been trying to do is I'm still knocking on doors, even though I'm not running for anything right now.
What do you say when you go?
Well, hey, here's who you should vote for, because this is what we need in Cleveland, from our state legislatures and governor down in Columbus. Here's what we need from members of Congress in D.C. My campaign team from my mayoral campaign has been knocking on doors the last 4 weeks already to get out the vote. And what politicians usually do is we ask for your vote, and then 4 years from now, that's when you hear from us again.
Right.
Versus that continuous engagement, right? That's how you, in my opinion, you change democracy and keep people engaged in democratic
Let's
process.
flip to sports. There's been a lot of discussion over the last year, maybe plus, that the Cleveland Browns and their ownership group are kicking the tires on a potential relocation. Obviously in the metro area, but perhaps not on the lakefront. And even more significantly, perhaps not in the city of Cleveland. What do you know about that? What do you think is going to happen down the road? Where are they?
Well, we're in early stages. Their lease isn't up until 2028.
Right.
But it's my priority to, number one, keep them in Cleveland, first and foremost.
Where they are?
Where they are. Keep them on the lakefront. I think that we have an amazing opportunity right now coming out of this pandemic to really reimagine the beauty of our lakefront. We have 17 miles, over 2,000 acres of prime time real estate on what I'm calling America's North Coast that we truly haven't maximized yet as a city. And so we've been in early discussions with the Haslams to really talk about how do we reimagine what that stadium should look like to make it a 24/7, 365 days a year destination.
What is your vision that for? I just remember when the NFL draft was in.
Yeah.
And how gorgeous they made our city look,
beautiful.
number one.
It was beautiful.
But secondly, how vibrant and alive compared to what it feels like the other 363 days when they weren't here.
Yeah.
Where it feels like it's on life support.
Yeah.
And then to watch it in that short period of time come to life was so invigorating and so exciting to me, because when I go to Chicago and I see what they do with their water, I've always questioned
no
what
reason
are
why
we
Cleveland's
doing
lakefront
here?
should be better
what,
than
the airport. Get rid of the airport.
What is
That's
your
on the
vision
list.
for this valuable
So
property?
what I like to do is I want to activate the space around Brown Stadium where there's shopping, housing, mixed commercial development. So there's stuff to do outside of just going to a Browns game.
Right.
Make it a true neighborhood.
Restaurants. Even residential.
Absolutely. And then build on the great assets we have with the Great Lakes Science Center and the Rockland Hall of Fame, which is seeing historic numbers in terms of attendance, and they're doing a brand new modernization plan that I'm really excited about. Then over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be making some announcements on Burke to really study, what's the economic feasibility of closing Burke, so that if it's going to cost us $20-30 million to close it, well, if we believe it's $1 billion asset we can leverage over time, then it's worth the investment.
So it's an investment, but long term, what that could be. I work out down in our gym, which is right next door here, and the back is all windows. It faces Burke. And when I'm running or on any of the ellipticals or whatever, I'm looking directly at the water. And I never see planes come and go.
No, not many people are flying out of Burke.
It's just for billionaires, right?
Yeah.
To come in and
they can fly out of Hopkins.
Yeah,
let
let them
them
go out
fly
of
there.
Hopkins.
And we have a county airport, too, that we can take a look at.
why has it been stalled out?
Lack of leadership.
That's why we needed young blood here.
I love the quick answer.
Yes.
Listen, I'm not afraid of trying new things.
Right.
If we fail, okay, we failed. What worked? What didn't work? And we try again. We have to be more innovative and less risk averse in the public
Now,
sector.
Mayor, I'm old. I'm 57.
Yeah.
I want to see this in my lifetime. Do I have to live to 100?
No.
Or because I know these plans.
No.
When you're talking about completely redressing a city,
Yeah.
they don't unfold in 5 or 10 years. It's
gonna
like
take
30
time.
years.
It's going to take time.
Yeah.
But I think it's my role as mayor to get the trend line going in a better direction.
Right.
Right.
At least get the ball moving.
I won't solve it completely in 1 term or 2 terms, but we can see material progress where there's more activity on the lakefront. There's a pathway to close Burke that's tangible.
Yeah.
Then the next mayor can come in and say, let's build on that legacy.
That's a ton of land
Kind of
It is.
piggybacking off that. Cleveland, the inner city, we lose a lot of our population, right? How are we going to keep people located in the city like this guy and this guy, right?
Yeah.
These not saying this guy and this guy, because they're at a point in their life where they're at their peak earning potential. There's a lot of their dollars, their economic dollars that could be spent, whether in housing, whether it could be spent just in entertainment. These are the people that we should. And then you have people like me and Tyvis. We're coming up, right? So you're like, okay, you start to earn a little more money. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to raise a family? What are some of your ideas as how to keep that stream, that income base here instead of going to other different?
Well, number one, we got to keep people safe, right? If you don't feel safe, you're not going to want to raise your family in the city or start a business in the city. And I think since I become mayor over the last 2 months, we've seen double-digit reductions in homicides and shootings. And almost every major category of violent crime is down.
How have you done that? Because almost every city in America crime is up double digits.
Yeah.
How have you turned it the other way?
We require more visible police presence. You know, I talked to my chief of police, Wayne Drummond, and right now on the first and second shift across the entire city, every officer is required to walk the beat for at least 1 hour.
Wow.
Number two, we negotiated a brand new police contract that's going to boost pay by nearly 11% over the next 3 years. I got it done in just 4 months without going to an arbitrator. So we're paying our cops more. And by the way, before we took office, our officers weren't allowed to wear ball caps, had beards, or tattoos. Now they can. So we're making our department more attractive for the next generation of officers, and we're going to hold them accountable when they step out of line. And one of the things that I'm really frustrated with my party, the Democratic Party, about is we can be tough on crime, but also be tough on police accountability.
Yeah, they're not mutually exclusive.
We got to do both. Because when I was growing up on Dove in the Southeast Side, my grandma wanted the cops to show up on time, but respect her as a hardworking, tax-paying citizen of the city.
Right.
And that's the true mandate of policing, and it should be across the country, and that's my vision for safety in the city.
How difficult has it been for you to recruit new officers?
It's
Because
hard.
I know numbers are down big.
It's so hard. You know, every mayor I talk to, from New York to LA to San Diego to Tampa, is dealing with this issue.
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to do is make the department more attractive, make pay better, make the culture better, and really show folks that Cleveland is a national model of policing, and hopefully that'll be a
Wait a minute.
positive
Yeah,
impact.
I was speaking to a member. I was actually speaking to a member of the the police department. We happened to be on a plane together, and he's in the bomb squad, and he was telling me that some of the guys that he works with, because I guess he works with some other departments, being in the bomb squad, and he was saying that this was a couple months ago, and he was saying that you know, some of these guys who, you know, working in small towns where they're not taking the risk that city cops are getting paid more money, and that's the challenge.
Pay's been a big problem.
Right. Yeah.
So our officer didn't have a contract for over 3 years, so we got him a new contract, and it's going to take a couple more contracts to make pay more competitive. But, you know, beyond just pay, you might be willing to get paid less if you like the culture, if you love your job.
Sure.
Right? I love my job. I took a big pay cut to become mayor because I love the job. Right? And so there are more things than just pay, but I think changing the culture is a big thing we got to do to make sure we can attract.
I got two sports questions. One,
yeah.
You say you grew up on Dove. Did you play for the Dove Park Panthers?
No, I did not.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
We played them in Muni League when I played.
I'm sure we beat you, right?
This guy's hilarious.
That wasn't an
Did
answer.
y'all play at the John Adams Field?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I played
used to
for
go
the
up there.
Cleveland Warriors.
I used to go up there and see them.
Cleveland Warriors
Yeah.
Mini League football.
Yeah.
But secondly,
Yeah.
when you watch this, take it back to the Cavs. When you watch this Cavs team right now, do you think, as they are now, that they can win it all, or do you think they need to acquire one more piece?
I think we need one more slasher small forward on the defensive side, on the wing side.
So like a Jay Crowder.
Yeah, someone that can bring some good defensive energy, but also get a good double-double every game.
Do you think we have the shooter that we need? That's my concern.
I do.
You do?
Yeah, but I would take one more score.
Okay.
Yeah, we can find a guy like that
I
at the
would
trade
take
deadline.
one more score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can never have enough.
Oh, hold on. We're 20 minutes in, and it just dawned on me. We haven't told you guys. Matter of fact, look, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, hit that notification bell.
Yeah.
By the way, I think it'd be awesome. You know, we got a great politician in the building. It'd be great if he would look in camera one and tell him why you should subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
You're shameless, man. You are shameless.
If you want the best insights and the best candor on what's real with Cleveland sports, tap into the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
There you go.
That's what
Hit the bell. Hit the bell.
I do all
Speaking
right.
of the combination of politics and athletes, like, have you tried to talk with some of the professional athletes in this town to use their celebrity to encourage people to vote? I think Nick, I don't want to give away where he lives, but I'm pretty sure Nick Chubb lives in the city, if I remember correctly. But I don't know. Has that been something that's been attempted?
I talked to a lot of the athletes about not just voting, but just getting involved in Cleveland.
Right, sure.
You know, I was able to, Denzel Ward and I visited a young man, Curtis Jackson, who got shot this summer.
Yeah.
He was valedictorian of his class, incoming freshman at St. Ed's, and we went over to his house and just played Madden with him. lit up his day.
That's dope.
That's
Right?
cool.
That's
and,
dope.
And so, you know, we need to make it real for athletes. It's more than just doing an IG post or going to a rally or serving food at a soup kitchen. But get to know these kids, because a lot of these kids want to become the next Myles Garrett or Denzel Ward or Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland. And so we got to do everything we can to wrap our complete selves around these young people to give them hope, because you are what you see, right? When I was growing up, I didn't see a lot of folks, you know, owning businesses. The only man I saw in a suit was my pastor. So I thought maybe I should be a pastor. Wasn't until I got to college where I said, okay, I can be in politics, or I can be in banking, or I can be in consulting. So we got to do a better job of exposing young people to what they can become.
We have 3 minutes, and I really wanted to ask you about the land around Progressive, and even, you know, it's a little more distant, but Rocket Mortgage. I think some of that land is a little more developed.
Yeah.
But I know that the Dolans have taken on a couple of minority partners, and there's been discussion of doing something with that land, which it's depressing when I go down there and I look directly across the street. It's an empty storefront. There's, you know, in that vicinity. What's your plan for developing that area for some residential and for entertainment, restaurants, and whatnot? Because I think that's a piece that's been missing that could really help boost the area down there.
Well, just like we want to do where the Brown Stadium is, we need to activate our stadium districts for shopping, for retail, for residential, and make them true neighborhoods. And so we've been in early conversations with the Guardians and the Cavaliers about really activating the Gateway District to a true neighborhood, because we can do that. Then we connect Gateway to the riverfront, and we have some big plans for the riverfront with the Bedrock family of companies, and Dave Gilbert as well too. So there's a lot in store. Dan Gilbert, sorry.
I have a pipe dream, so I know you're going to dismiss this because it's going to be $10 billion. But my pipe dream is, I mean, if you were starting all over from scratch and you were building Cleveland, you wouldn't have 90 come right on the lakefront and go. So I've
That's
always
pure
thought,
redlining, by the way.
Could you imagine if there was a
Talk that
tunnel,
talk.
if
to
at
'em.
some point around Euclid, it goes underground, and then the 90 connection is underground, and all of that land, which is now the highway, because the big barrier to the lakefront is the highway.
Yeah.
So I mean, I always imagine, and I know the funds. I don't know where this money comes from, but if there was a tunnel that went underground and all that land suddenly became available, it would be amazing what you could do with that property.
So we are starting next week, we're going to have one of our first town halls on our North Coast connector plan to better connect downtown to the lakefront. And one thing we want to do is figure out, is there a way to address that highway that divides the lakefront from downtown, but also it really redlines the lakefront from the east side of the city.
It does. Yeah, it does.
And so there's billions of dollars in the bipartisan infrastructure bill we're going to try to compete for to address that, but we got a long way to go. I don't think the tunnel is an answer.
Nah, it's too much of a pipe dream.
But
Unless you got Elon Musk money, you just want.
You don't want the big
We
dig
got a
stuff.
young mayor in Cleveland who's got energy and is doing things in the
Yes,
city. We
thank
love it.
goodness.
We love it. Everybody go out and vote. Election
vote.
day's coming up. Go out and
I
vote.
think it's 2 weeks from
yesterday.
2 weeks from yesterday.
So, Mayor Bibb, thank you for giving us time. I know you're on a
Appreciate
tight
it.
schedule and you have to go.
Thank you so much, guys.
For what it's worth, from the outside looking in, because I don't live in Cleveland, but I work in Cleveland, I think the future of the city is in wonderful hands.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you're going to accomplish a whole lot in your time in office.
And let us know if we can help.
I certainly will.
Yes.
I'll come back.
We are here.
Yes.
Please do.
Y'all heard that, right?
We're gonna
Hold him
throw
to
to a
it.
Cedi Osman 60-second piece as the mayor escapes out. We'll talk a little bit of Cavs on the other side of it, guys. Mayor, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Another edition of 60 Seconds from Cavs Media Day with Cedi Osman. Cedi, you were a Cavs fan favorite, so when you were growing up, who was your favorite athlete?
Dirk Nowitzki.
Just because of the European influence, the jump shot?
Exactly. Just because, he's from the Europe and what he achieved with Dallas is just an unbelievable thing. So that's why it was Dirk Nowitzki.
If you didn't play basketball, what would you do?
I think I would be a pilot. I mean, that's something that I was dreaming since I was a kid. But obviously it turned out a different way. So
I'm not sure they make cockpits big enough for a 6'10" guy.
Yeah, probably not. But, you know, it was just a dream as a kid, so.
Funniest teammate?
Funniest teammate? Damn, that's a good question. I'll go with Isaac and Kevin.
No one's given us the same answer yet, so I'm starting to worry. Any of you guys funny?
Huh?
No one's given us the same answer on who's the funniest teammate. So any of you guys actually, any guys funny?
I mean, K-Love is pretty funny now. Nobody didn't say K-Love?
Not yet.
Oh. I mean, K-Love is pretty funny. K-Love is pretty funny. Isaac is funny too.
Dream dinner guest. You get to pick 2 of them.
Dream dinner guest.
Yeah. You go out to dinner, get two people to go to dinner with.
Oh man. I would go with Bron and Michael Jordan, just to talk about the GOAT conversation.
I'm sure that goes smooth, right? All right, Jetty, last one. An alien lands on this planet, and they say, Jetty, you got to take me out for my first meal on Earth. Where are you taking them for their first meal on Earth?
Man, that's a good question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, first of all, I would say you take me to whatever you're living, like take me to a meal, like, you know, the world can wait. But I mean, I'd say I'll take him to eat tacos. Yeah, we'll go eat tacos.
Tacos in Cleveland, love it. That's 90 seconds with Cedi Osman.
Program.
The business
Okay.
one. Business.
Hey, we're back. Well done, Mikey. Well done. What's your general impression of Cedi?
He was really cool. I know we had. Also, can we turn the light on in here, Anthony? Why is it so dark?
What is happening?
Yeah, you guys are like setting the mood.
Setting the mood in there.
Hey, there we go. I didn't even realize with Mayor Bibb we didn't have the light on, but Cedi was really cool.
Yeah.
He's shooting well. I think when I gave him the handshake, my shooting touch rubbed off on Cedi, which is why he can't miss from 3 right now.
Yeah,
I know how that feels.
Tyvus, yeah, if you play in that league, count me in. Me and you go run.
For
on the
sure.
table.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
on the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which one has the better chance
Egos
of
are
getting a
running
G-League
wild
contract?
out here.
I mean,
Tyvus for the size, but
Yeah.
you
For the shot and the
yeah.
game.
You-
if you combine me and Tyvus, we could be a D1.
all I'm going to say is if you like Donovan Mitchell, then you love me.
That's your game?
Yeah.
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 Why did
You
you
can
play
outscore
college
him?
basketball too?
I thought I was too good at football. No. Football it's an easier path to making it in football than
Yeah, there's
basketball.
more
More
guys,
jobs.
more
Yeah.
roster spots.
Yep.
All right, general impressions from the mayor. I think he's incredibly impressive. He
Yeah.
looks 22 in person.
He really
Well,
does.
he comes across
It was
very young on
really
TV.
stunning seeing him in person.
It takes your
He
breath away.
looks
You're
so
like, wow,
young.
you're our leader?
Black don't crack.
No, and well,
That's
my
true.
goodness.
Black guys in general look younger than like a white guy in general of
Yes.
the same age. Not every single case,
Yeah.
but in general. But he looks particularly young.
He really does.
You know what? Speaking
Like
of,
if you told me he was if I didn't know who he was and you said this is a high school student, like you know, you'd be like, okay, maybe he kind of looks like he's in high school.
Very young.
Speaking of looking young,
Yeah.
did y'all notice my look? None of y'all commented on my look.
I believe you've used some Just for Men.
No,
beard color.
no.
Because it was really
So y'all
coming
ain't
in
even
gray.
notice it.
Wait.
I cut my goatee. I'm just mustache and beard. now.
Oh, you.
Hey, listen.
It's such a small.
I look
piece
like
of land.
I was trying to be like LeBron.
First of all, pause.
LeBron.
Pause. That is for your wife to see. You can't ask no grown man, did you see what I did
Yeah,
with my face?
I'm glad we didn't recognize and
Grown
notice.
man, don't
Really?
What you mean?
Did anybody
That's a
notice I got a
pause?
haircut?
That's
Did
a-
anybody
that's a-
notice?
Y'all know this bull shave.
No, I brought it up.
Yep, listen, you
I
can't
said
miss
that
that bullshit.
Yeah, but I said it. I said my wife told me I should shave this
Yeah.
morning.
My wife is indifferent. She's like, I don't even know the difference. I said,
Whoa.
You know, Tyvus leads the league in confidence.
Oh yeah.
I mean, oh, look at that, man. Shout out to my boy. You did your thing with this one. Ooh-wee.
He said, did you see my
Ebony
lips?
man of the month.
He said, did you see my lips and facial area around my mouth? Go ahead.
That's not what I said. It's not what I said. It's not what No, we got Joe Burrow to talk
I feel
about.
like we gotta get
let's talk
Can we get
Bengals.
rid of the middle chair? I hate the middle chair.
Yeah, I do too. It's-
Can't we just move it?
We'll move
No.
it when Earl comes out to hold the whiteboard in a little
I
bit.
hate
All
the
right.
middle chair.
To get
Very
that out of the
good.
middle, we have to readjust the other 4 chairs, Bull. And
Yeah,
then
it's a
to
whole
get up and
thing.
What's
slide
wrong with
it
that?
up.
What's
It's a
wrong
whole
with
thing.
that?
Oh what?
Let's dive into this Bengals-Browns matchup. Typically, we do that on Tuesdays, but because they're not playing till Monday and
Yeah.
not Sunday, we had a little bit of extra time, so we waited for today to do our Browns defense versus the Bengals offense, because I do think that's where this game's going to be won or lost. I think the Bengals offense is now clicking. Some numbers before we start our discussion. The Bengals offense, I was surprised that they were this low, but it speaks to how poorly they started. 11th in the league in yards per game, 5th in passing. I believe in no time they're going to be first or second. They're 28th in rushing, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. San Diego came in 32nd, and they just boat raced us on run.
Yeah.
And they're 8th in scoring. As for the Browns, defensively, middle of the pack, 16th in the league in yards per game allowed, 14th in passing yards allowed, 24th now in rushing yards allowed, and they are 28th in the league in scoring.
Honestly, I think all those stats are meaningless.
They tell a story.
No, they
tell a
don't.
story.
We got to stop you.
boy.
Wait
a minute. No, let him go.
Meaningless.
Let him go.
No, the Browns' defense is worse than those numbers, is my point.
Okay, well, there you go.
But it paints a picture
But
that they're
doesn't.
bottom third.
There
in the
are
league.
better stats. There are analytics. There are better stats. Efficiency and stuff like that are much more.
Yeah, but
the amount of yards given up is kind of meaningless.
Not really, because yards lead to
No,
points.
100% it does, because
No.
if it's a one-sided game,
It has not been one-sided games for the Browns.
No,
but I'm just
everything's
talking in
been
general, the statistics.
I'm talking about the Browns.
What is the matter with y'all two? Like, y'all looking to rebuttal.
It's all right. These guys can't handle the word analytics. They're scared by analytics.
Y'all gotta listen to understand.
They don't want to listen.
and then
Forget it. We won't
to
argue.
We
Rebuttal.
just gave you some analytics.
No, those are stats that nobody in analytics pays attention.
It's irrelevant.
No.
Who doesn't pay attention to yards per game?
The stats is irrelevant. It's all about when you get there.
Who doesn't pay attention to
Forget
yards
it. I don't
per
want to
game?
argue.
Wait a minute.
Scoring, they're 28th.
Wait a minute.
They suck.
Wait a minute.
And that number says they do.
Wait a minute, Jay. Did it matter when the Chargers was 32nd in rushing? Did that matter to you?
Yeah, but here's what mattered.
They came out and looked like the number
what
one
mattered.
rushing team.
What were the Browns? What was the Browns' rushing defense?
Those stats, especially early in the season, are kind of
irrelevant.
can be misleading. Is my
3
point.
games in, once we
Yes,
played San
right.
Diego,
All right.
yes.
The-
Now we're 7 games
The bottom
in.
line.
You are what your numbers
the
say
bottom
you are.
line is, but there are a lot of numbers. You're just pointing to specific numbers
Yes.
that a lot of people don't think
Well,
are.
you don't want me to read every number,
So
do you?
I mean, we used to judge baseball pitchers by wins and losses. Now we know that's absurd.
I never did.
It's not
Maybe
true.
you did. I didn't.
Those numbers is skewed because it's guys that's out of the lineup that dealt with some
It's
injuries.
the NFL. You know,
Tyvus, let me ask you this.
Y'all is incredible.
Yeah.
You look at the
good
Browns
enough people
defense,
injured.
just look at them by the eye test. Where would you think they would be in points allowed?
Points allowed?
Yeah.
After, like, right now, today,
Right now.
after watching them?
You've watched them all year. You know what they are. What would you think they are in points allowed?
18th.
What the hell are you watching?
Yeah, that's all right. So let's all agree the Browns defense has been
28.
the Browns defense has been terrible. Okay,
They ain't giving up
The Browns defense has been terrible. That we can all agree on.
Yes.
Jay,
All right.
I tried it, didn't I?
Can you agree that the
Tried
Browns
it.
defense has been terrible?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
So the Browns defense has been terrible. Now
You said yards.
the Bengals
Points.
have not run the ball well.
No.
Unlike the Chargers, the Bengals I don't think are going to. The Chargers made a point of running the ball against the Browns, right? Part of that is the Browns' run defense not good, but part of it was Justin Herbert wasn't 100% healthy.
Sure.
And so that's part of the reason they did that. The Bengals' passing game is their strength. Joe Mixon's a good back,
Sure.
but their
They
offense
can run it. They just choose to move it through the air.
listen, I've watched all their games. They have not run the ball well when they've tried to run it.
No.
This past game against Atlanta's secondary was a disaster, and Burrow just picked them apart. Guys were wide open, and so they didn't even really try to run the ball. They ran it fine when they did, but overall, the Bengals' offensive line, which was terrible last year, it's better on paper this year. It was bad early in the season, and it's getting
It's
better.
definitely gotten better.
They have 4 new starters on their offensive line.
Right.
So the guys are still learning, and none of them, not a single offensive lineman on the Bengals had ever played together before this year. So obviously they were going to struggle early in the year. They've gotten better. They're still not great. I would say it's probably going to end up being an average offensive line. but they're better at pass blocking. So, but the fact that they're better at pass blocking and they have 3 top receivers means even though the Browns' weakness has been the run game, I still think the Bengals will throw the ball a lot in this game.
Oh, they're going to run the ball for sure because it's blood in the water, and it still hasn't been 100% addressed. Now, the Browns' defense has been playing well coming off of the Baltimore game where they held Lamar and them to low numbers. But they're
the Ravens actually ran it well in that game.
They're definitely going to come out and run the ball. You got to figure out a way to get a balanced attack. You're most dangerous when you're balanced in the offense. And if we can get Joe Mixon to get some good yards, which is what made him effective, which made Cincinnati's offense effective last year, period.
Right.
But because they both was good running and throwing the ball.
Agreed. And they need that as the season goes along. But as they've played better here the last couple of weeks, it's been all the passing.
But, Bull,
game.
do you think that the Browns' run defense is as good as the Browns' pass defense? Like, I don't see
Which one do you got more faith in, the Browns' pass defense or run defense?
No.
But here's the thing about the
you
Browns.
got to pick one. Which one?
I would say just on name power that the passing defense is better, but because we know what they have up front in the middle.
But here's the thing that we don't know.
I don't want either one of them.
Here's the interesting thing, guys. In terms of passing the ball, the Browns have only faced one really good passing quarterback, Justin Herbert.
They have.
Lamar Jackson's a good quarterback, but he's not an exceptional passing quarterback.
He's good because he's a dual threat.
Right.
But that don't make me feel good.
And the no, it doesn't make you feel bad. And the Ravens have no receivers, right? Like the Ravens don't have a receiver that could start for the Bengals. So
what's your point?
My point is that even if you think
you're making it sound really bad for the Browns.
Well, my point is that even though the Browns' run defense is probably worse than their pass defense, the Bengals' pass offense is much better than its run offense, and I lost my train of thought.
Let me break it down for you. Let me just give you this.
Well, you screwed me up, Tyvus.
No, that's what happens when you're trying to figure something out
on the fly.
Ain't no figuring.
I think he's trying to talk himself into something.
You can't talk yourself into. Listen, the Bengals are going to do whatever they want. They can either run the ball for large amounts of yards. They can either pass the ball for thousands of yards if they want to. The Browns' defense is the worst set of defensive tackles in the league, period. Their linebackers are the worst linebackers in the league, period.
You know why that is?
Because they didn't address it in an offseason.
I'm saying, you know why.
Well, they did, but they didn't get the right guys.
It's a domino effect. The linebackers are bad because the defensive tackles are bad. That's what.
Because they're getting bodies pushed into them.
Exactly. So it's hard to do your job.
Well, it's hard to do your. Well, the backers don't be reading no keys now.
That's not fair to really say that because they played okay last game.
Phillips is going to be gone for the rest of the season, right? Ain't nobody crying over that. They're like, oh, okay. Well,
listen, did they play?
20s.
They played well last week.
Who?
Against the run?
The defense. No, just that's
overall, the defense played a decent game last week.
Okay, that's where we are. They give up 23 points. They lose the game, and we're saying overall the defense played. We
right.
They got the ball. Wait a minute. They got the ball.
About this defense as being a top 5. Some on the team.
Right. And I personally,
they got one turnover.
What is the matter with
They got one turnover.
So y'all just negative. So y'all just look at it like it's
they're
just
2-5.
And again, Tyvus.
Wow.
Again, they played a decent game against Baltimore. Outside of tight end, where's Baltimore better than Cincinnati on offense?
Nowhere.
Offensive line.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, maybe a little bit.
I got him.
Maybe a little bit. I don't know. I don't think their offensive line is great either. I just don't think the Browns.
Cincinnati will absolutely score more than 23
all
points.
I'm going to say
But the only thing that makes me think the Browns can win this game is that the Browns have, and that Stefanski's had the Bengals number.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And if Denzel Ward, if he comes back out of this concussion protocol, and I said that. Yeah, if he comes out of this concussion protocol, it's too much chirping. It's too much on the line. The off season with the Jamar Chase stuff, like
they about to come out here, guns are blazing.
See, and that's what that's what we need to see.
Hey,
I need to know because we gonna find out about Greg Newsome this week.
You was talking.
I need to know if he that guy or not.
You guys want to see the quote again?
Play it.
Yeah.
Just full, Mike. 38 full.
These
A lot
guys.
of trash
Jamar
talk
Chase
between these
told
receivers and DBs.
You got it up. 38.
He got respect for Denzel, but he ain't got none for Genu.
I don't think they respect
This
him.
is what he said on the Pivot podcast. It's game time when we see them. It's just on site. That's it. Not just because Cleveland talked the most. Bleep. Denzel Ward did his thing. Same for Greg Newsome. I don't think he elite, but they just talk crazy.
That was awkward, Mike reading that quote a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think next time we need somebody else reading it.
That's fine.
Put it back up there. Let me read it.
Hey, but let's have time, Mr. Let's take it back.
Let me see.
Let's take it back,
Yeah,
Mike.
and don't hold back.
I don't curse.
You don't curse?
Here we go. It's game time when we see them. It's on site. That's it. Not just because Cleveland talked the most trash. Denzel Ward did his thing. Same for Genu. I don't think he elite, but they just talk crazy. You know what I'm saying?
That's well done, man.
That felt comfortable.
Yeah, that brings the city flair to it, bro.
And what I gotta do? Put it in subtitles or something? That's 45 points. That's you sitting there.
Bro,
Listen,
stop that.
Hey,
He ain't never did score 45 points on a period.
let's be clear. Let me
He had 2 opportunities to do it last year. He did nothing.
Let's be clear. These dudes is living off last year
That's a fact.
and Baker Mayfield.
That's a
Baker
fact.
Mayfield got a great highlight tape too. That ain't helping him right now in West Carolina.
Baker Mayfield would like to play the Bengals every week.
Hey, great.
He'd have
Listen,
a career.
Denzel Ward
Never lost to them.
Denzel Ward jumped a route last year. We ain't seen him jump no more like that.
They got 2 picks all year.
No more.
2.
Greg Newsome, has he gotten his first pick?
No.
No.
He might get it this week.
Oh, okay. That's just listen. The bottom line is the Bengals is out here doing what they need to do, and this is the problem I got. I'm tired of talking about how it ain't. We get to by Monday we cussing everybody out. Tuesday we calm down. By Wednesday, we trying to figure out the stats where it make it look like the Browns got a shot. By Thursday, we doing
right.
headlines. And the headlines say, well, I think I'm going to just go with this because, you know, Kevin Stefanski, and I think they already played, they can't play no worse. By Friday, you sitting there, you done talked yourself into it. You had TJI Fridays, hanging out with your people, and they got, hey, G. Bush, you think we got a chance to? And then you mess around and say yes. And then by the time you get to Sunday, you see that smoke show, and you sitting there looking like this on the side of your bed, and your wife say, honey, can we just go to Giant Eagle now and get some groceries because the game is over? That's what we do.
First of
every
all,
week.
that's a lie.
No, what he said was 100%.
Wait a minute.
Talking
No.
yourself
Yeah,
right
by
into
Sunday
it.
you're like, we got this.
We got it.
Wait a minute.
Good.
And then at 4 o'clock you're like, and you know, we talked about earlier this year, it's our fault.
It is.
Yeah.
Because we're the media.
Yeah.
We talked them up to the #1 ranked
Man.
defense.
Who?
Man,
Oh, yeah.
dude, G
Don't-
has
don't
gone
say
in 4
we.
weeks
Don't say we.
from Jacoby Brissett being him. Did I use that properly?
Yes,
He is him.
Yeah, but you gotta say. He said,
Did I blow it by asking if I said it properly?
Yes, you
I did.
Because you had it right, but you weren't sure if you had it
So,
right.
like, this team is the worst team ever.
who put the question mark on the teleprompter? Is he him?
How many times do I have to
Oh,
tell
I
you?
did. I
Ron's
gave it.
gonna read
I gave it the wrong inflection.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Listen.
You did.
All right, go ahead.
All I
No,
know.
you went from 4 weeks ago. He's the man, and now like the team's a disaster. Things are not as bad.
They not though.
Big picture.
Like they really not
Big
as
picture.
bad.
All right,
Things
here's
are not as bad as
here's
you
what
guys
told
are
Me
me
making.
that. You
Here's
told me
what-
that before Baltimore.
Here's what we would like to do. Here's what we
Y'all is-
here's what we would like to do. I'm going to throw this out to the chat. By the way, 20 minutes later, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell so you can get this great content. If you believe that it is not as bad as it is,
It's not.
put a 2 in the chat. If you think this thing is going to hell in a handbasket
Let me tell you
and
something.
it's a dumpster fire, please put 1 in the chat. We'll check back.
let
with
me tell you
later.
Mikey, let us know what the total.
listen.
Let me tell you something.
Y'all-
I think everybody. Go ahead. You go first.
I
Tim.
just think y'all overreacted a little bit.
It's 2-5.
I get it.
It's not 0-1.
But I
1
get
and
it.
2. It's
What
2
is?
and 5.
You know why they 2 and 5?
Yeah.
I'm not sweating. First of all, I'm not
tell you
doing
game
this.
by game.
I'm
Tell
not.
you exactly why.
It's because the defense hasn't played well.
It's because they find ways to lose games.
Because
good
the
teams find ways
because
to win.
the defense doesn't play well.
None of them.
Listen, as bad as we say Stefanski's a terrible play caller and all of that.
No, the offense is performing.
Exactly.
It is.
We thought the defense would lead the way.
We winning
the offense
so
has been
many
good.
games, winning in the fourth quarter and lost in the end. That's defense.
However, in all of these close games, we've had chances and drives to win, and Jacoby Brissett has thrown interceptions.
Okay, to be fair, coming into this season, we knew that. That's why we said, no, yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
Did you trust Jacoby in a big spot?
He didn't throw interceptions.
Why are we putting him in the position to have to do game-winning drives when we're already winning in the fourth quarter?
What did we hear about Jacoby? You said it.
He doesn't turn the ball over.
He doesn't turn the ball over. He takes care of the football.
How many quarterbacks that's not elite don't turn the ball over?
But did you not? Did you expect
6 touchdowns?
Did you expect Jacoby
5
Brissett to
picks?
pull out game-winning drives? I didn't.
I didn't.
No. Here's what I expected.
Yeah, the defense.
Who's the best player on our team?
Miles or Nick?
Okay. I expected those two guys to win games for us.
Well,
By the way,
they're doing. Nick's doing all he can do.
By the way, Nick
Miles is banged up.
By the
Nick's
way,
doing all he can do based on how many carries he gets.
Exactly.
Nick Chubb is second in the NFL in carries in the fourth quarter. Did you know that?
I don't care. You keep saying every time we say we want more Nick, you go, well, he's second in the league in carries.
Analytics guy,
and then now he's third in the league in carries. I don't care about that.
So
I don't care.
Only your stats matter.
No.
Here's why I don't care about that.
That's what I'm saying.
Before.
I'm about to say all them stats you said.
Yeah, and now my stats don't matter.
Here's why I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Who is the best running back in football?
Nick Chubb?
Why isn't he first by a mile in carries?
Because
Why isn't he first by a mile in the fourth quarter in carries? Thank you.
He's second.
No, the pause killed you.
He's second. First of all, because you guys are scared of anything. The analytics will tell you that if a running back carries too much, his play's going to go.
Hold on, do you have my calculator? I'm going to figure something out here.
Yes, because all the
my calculator says 2 and 5.
Because all the meathead GMs have done such a great job, and coaches. Yeah. How have the meathead GMs and coaches done in Cleveland in the last 25 years?
Meatheads?
We've had nothing but meatheads as head coaches here.
We've had terrible head coaches.
Yeah, they're all the meathead guys that you like that don't pay attention to analytics.
In the last 6 years for sure,
Yeah.
we've leaned heavily on analytics.
What do you mean? No, we haven't.
Yes, we have.
Not until these last 2 years.
So I don't talk to all the GMs, but I do talk to people that do talk to the GMs.
Right.
And I've asked them, how are the Browns in terms of leaning on analytics?
Yeah.
Well, look who they hired. They went and hired the godfather of them, who was the godfather of baseball analytics.
Who was being ignored until Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski.
We don't know that because I've
well, then you don't know that he hasn't been ignored.
I've heard that he has not been ignored.
I heard from Jason, who covers the team, that he wasn't ignored.
This is minutia. We are arguing about the catchphrase.
The point is to say they're not giving Nick Chubb the ball when he's second in the league in fourth quarter carries is silly. You want to argue he should be number one? Wait, let me just finish my point.
All right, go ahead.
You want to argue that he should be number one? Fine, but to make it seem like he's not getting any carries at all when he's second in the league is ridiculous.
I never said that.
Hold on.
Well, you're making second seem like it's 30th.
I've always said he's not getting
Number
enough.
Number two.
Go ahead.
Browns running backs have more carries than any other running backs.
They have the best running game.
All right.
Okay, so what do you want him to do?
Run more.
Here's
more.
You win by passing in the league.
It's what we're good at.
Can I break this
G-Bibbs,
down?
please get in here,
Can I break this down so
Please.
you can stop talking about this? Now, if you are good at something and you are good at this,
okay,
it does not matter what everybody else is doing.
Thank you.
Have you ever heard somebody tell you, don't worry about what that man do what you do.
Yeah.
Be you.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, if that is your best weapon, it don't matter how much the Chiefs running, the Cowboys running.
Because they don't have these guys.
They don't got, hold on, pause, hold on before you talk. They don't have what you have.
Can I rebuttal?
No, you ain't done yet. Y'all be wanting to talk so fast.
I ain't said nothing.
Just let me get my point.
I ain't said nothing in like 5 minutes.
Well, let me get my point.
Keep rolling, brother.
Now, when you do something at a high level, you don't then say, well, I'll settle for second because everybody else in the league is only doing it to this much. And I show you every single week teams who say, you know what, I got Josh Allen. They say you have to be balanced. I'm throwing the ball every play. Leave me alone. I've seen teams be like, you know what, The Browns suck. I'll run it 11 plays in a row. The analytics and what other people are doing has no bearing. You ride what you ride till the wheels come off, and then you tell somebody else to stop it. It's not about being balanced and compared to the rest of the league, because guess what? You trying to be like the rest of the league, you 2-5. You trying to be like everybody else, and you're 2-5.
So how many more runs did you? Go ahead, Tyvus. You go.
So my thing is this, Garrett. You play football.
Gee, that was awesome.
You're a smart guy. You play football. Awesome. Okay. Over the course of a game, you'd say it's teams make adjustments, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So if we running the ball effectively, you think that the defense is just going to continue to let them run the ball effectively, or would you just add more people to the box and sell out on stopping?
You mean how Cleveland stopped Atlanta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll say this to you. Defenses are going to make adjustments, Tyvus.
Okay.
But you know very well that when you play defense, it ain't just enough for the coach to make you unblocked. You got to actually make that tackle.
Okay.
And when it comes down between Nick Chubb and that safety, who you taking? Because they don't tackle him.
Depending on who the safety is.
I'm just saying.
If it's Tyvus, I'm taking Tyvus all day.
Well, Tyvus, you know what? They need to get you in the field. But the reality is, Nick Chubb is that good. Michael Jordan don't get stopped by nobody. LeBron don't get stopped.
Giannis, don't get stopped.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many more times per game do you want Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb? How many more times per game do you want them?
I want
how many more running plays?
25 minimum for Nick Chubb, and it should be 15 to 18 touches for Kareem Hunt.
So how many
you want over
passes?
40 running plays.
So how many passes did
I'm with
Jacoby Brissett throw?
Jacoby Brissett should never be over 22, 23 passes.
So say we run the ball 40 times and we lose by 14. What did
I'll ride with it.
You cool.
You know what? Hold on, because you know what I did?
lost with your fastball.
I lost with my best option.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to lose.
You know what?
Way more than we're passing it down. We're 2-5.
Show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser.
We're 2-5, Ty.
I can't believe
doing it this way. We're 2-5.
You know what the Bears
They
did?
run the ball as the 7th highest percentage. So it's
I
not
heard
like they're-
you. 7th?
Yeah.
We got
Yeah.
the best running game. Why is it one?
7th.
Why isn't it number one by a mile?
I don't
we
know
have
why
the
it's not
best
number
running
one by a
game.
mile.
Why would we be 7th?
Because in these last couple of games in particular, they've been down. I mean, in the Patriots game.
They weren't down big by
But
in
listen,
the
they
Baltimore
were in the
game.
Patriots
No, they-
game.
Okay, the Patriots game, yes.
We're down 10.
That was the only game that was lost by more than 3 points.
The thing I don't understand with y'all is that we've been winning like games. Like we've been leading in games with whatever he's
They've
doing.
lost these games because of their
and
defense,
they've lost.
guys.
Thank you. Like it's all it's been
that's
is
the
the
bottom line.
defense.
Your argument is, well, we've had the lead in some of these games.
Yes, the offense. It's not the offense.
Ty, what did the Browns do best? And I'm going to go back to Bull. Bull sat right in that chair and said, nobody can stop Nick Chubb. Nobody can stop him.
Right.
16
But if it's if there's
You know
a
who can
minute
stop him?
12 left.
Kevin Stefanski.
Exactly, and I've said that too. But if there's a minute 12 left and they got to get 70 yards, it's hard to do that just running the ball.
But if you,
So
And it
that's
runs
what I said.
clock.
Under
But-
2
so what
minutes,
do
you
you
gonna
want
run
him
the
to do?
ball.
What do you want him to do in
Depends
that
on what the
What do you want him to do in the
That's, you gonna run the ball under 2 minutes.
no.
What do you want him to do in the 2 minutes?
Game on the line.
Hold on,
70 yards ago, you gonna run the ball.
Guys,
That makes no sense.
we're losing
Yeah.
the point here.
Yes.
We're
2
all
minutes,
arguing
yes.
different points. The one thing we can agree on is when Tyvus diagrams stuff for us on the whiteboard, we all become smarter football fans. And
Oh, yeah,
earlier
let's
this
get to
week-
Yes. Bring it out, Earl.
Earlier this week, we had a play that G. Bush
He's going to go
crucified
at
John
you on this
Johnson
one.
for. And now Tyvus is going to defend John Johnson and why.
If y'all ain't
what
subscribed
happened
to
wasn't his
this,
fault.
I don't
Yeah.
know what you're doing. This man is hilarious right now.
Come on in here.
What I'm about to do is change a mind. This is,
By the way,
thank
as
you.
he's preparing,
Can we show the play? We can show the all 22.
He wanted to see it. They wanted to wait
We're
till
gonna let
afterwards.
Tyvus draw it up so that you
yeah.
can see what they're
Let me
supposed
say
to
something real quick. By the way, you know how you guys complain that Stefanski is worried about analytics too much. You know how you guys complain that okay.
I don't know that it's Stefanski that's worried about them.
Analytics
I don't.
says to pass the ball on first down most of the time.
Yeah, analytics doesn't have Nick Chubb.
Okay, you know which team has run the ball on first down more than any team in
It better be
football?
the Browns, and it
It
better
is the
be by
Browns.
the lot.
Well, I don't know if it's by a lot, but they're first.
Well, it should be, because they've got the best running back in the league.
Well,
So
he's
you're-
one of the best
You're
running backs.
comparing, you keep saying, do you know
Yeah.
where they stand in terms of run? Do you know where
Yeah.
they stand? And then you said 7th. Why would it be anything
but everything
first?
else was first or second.
Well, everything should be first because that's what, like Aditi said yesterday.
Yeah.
Aditi, who's smart and rational, not like us, yelling and screaming.
I'm rational.
emotional.
Much more rational about this than you
No,
are.
Aditi
Than
is
you guys are.
the voice of calm and reason.
Yeah.
She even said,
He's so
"What are
ready.
we doing? Know who you are,
Jay.
and do what you do." Okay.
Jay, let me.
I think Stefanski, by the way, I think
he's waiting.
Stefanski's doing a fine
You're
job.
red meat in the cage.
Go ahead, man.
All right, here we go. So
Get your board game on.
They came out in 22 personnel.
At least tell the play that we're going to show. What is this
This
play?
is the John
Ravens
Johnson play on the
The
goal
touchdown
line.
run
Yeah,
for
the
the
touchdown
Ravens on the goal line.
So they come out in 22 personnel. 22 personnel stands for 2 running backs, 2 tight ends. As you can see, boom, boom, 2 tight ends, 2 running backs. So as this play, the Browns was in man-to-man. So as play goes, he motions, they jet sweep him on the snap. Okay, and you're in man-to-man as a safety. This is your fit is outside of your man.
Right.
Okay, so you would agree that John Johnson would be, this is his gap technically.
Right.
Corner's the leverage guy. Okay. Linebackers is working 32. 32 means that us 3 got these 2 running backs. So if he went that way, he'd take him. If he go that way, he'd take him. He'd be the free hitter. If both went that way, he'd take one, he'd be the free guy. Okay? Right. All on the same page. Motion comes over here. The fullback comes in motion, okay? This guy blocks down. He blocks down. Not only did he block down, he blocked him down to about right there.
Yeah,
okay?
he blew him up.
Yeah, okay. So you agree that happened?
He definitely blew him up.
Okay. This guy is in man, so he's coming to meet this guy, right? What he didn't realize was this guy blocked him, okay? This guy, corner, stayed right here and took on this contact. What he should have did was he should have met it, because if he met it, he would have squeezed things down. John Johnson is too busy looking at his guy because he want to make sure that it's a run. As he's trying to get over this, he runs into this crap right here.
Interference.
And couldn't get there.
Yeah.
But, wait a minute.
I just want to clarify. John Johnson has that guy blocking down, right?
Right here. This is his gap.
So
he fits on the outside of this guy.
What man does he have in man-to-man coverage?
This tight end right here.
Okay, go ahead.
That's his guy.
Okay.
You agree that he was down here, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So technically, when this ball hits, this running back hits through here, right? Mm-hmm. That's not his gap. His gap is right here, okay? This JOK technically is the reason why this happened. He should have went over this. Instead, he went under this, which then picked him off, so now it creates a big gap. If he comes in and squeezes it down, JOK goes over it, there's no gap for him to go but here, and boom, the safety makes the play.
All right. So
show the play.
So show the play.
Huh.
So show the play.
Great job, Earl. Great work.
All right, here we go. You see the motion. You see JOK. You see JOK jump inside. Wait, take it back. Take it back. Go slow because y'all go. Oh, wait, that's right. We can't rewind.
We can't go. This is just what it is.
All right, boom. JOK, boom. He jumps inside. You see that? But
Yeah,
you see J3's gap though. J3's gap is what I said. Where y'all see where the tight end is?
I know, but what about right now?
Okay. Right now, the only person that can, if you've never been in this situation, because I've been in this situation before, that play hit so fast that he's so busy looking at his guy. The only thing he can do is dive.
Hold on.
That's it. He's not going to make the play. He's not going to make the play. I'm telling you. He's not. It's going too fast. I'm telling you.
First of all,
I've been in this situation before.
First of all,
did you dive in that situation?
Yes, and I didn't get it.
Well, let me just give you this.
Man, right there, it looks like he has
He ain't going to get it. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I know what it looked like. He's not going to get it.
Okay. Here's my thing. First of all, look at his footwork. His footwork is horrible. He's hopping in one spot. You took 3 false steps. That's why it happens fast.
He did take a false step.
False steps on the goal line is trouble. That means if you blink, it's done. That's technique. Hold on. I'm just giving it to you. Now, look, that's technique. Right here, when he gives that third eye, when play goes down and you got to block down, you got to redirect. It ain't this way and then go. No, it's boom, put the left foot down, redirect now, down the line of scrimmage. That's a poor angle, and he does not look. See how he turned his body? You'll never get there. Shoulders ain't square. Second of all, when you talking about on the goal line, You know what they call that. Your back is against the wall. You better do everything you can to get to that ball clear. Crawl, scratch. I don't care what you got to do. At the end of the day, hold on. This is a loaf. Let me tell you why it's a loaf. A loaf is he knows this. A loaf is any change of speed on the field. That means if you change and you gear that down, you loafing. He should have busted his ass to get to the ball carrier, and he did this. That is unacceptable. He took false steps. His technique was terrible, and he didn't go after the play. That's not excusable. Nah.
Can you play it one more time?
And he's unblocked.
It's not his gap. How you gonna be mad? All right, at the beginning of the play.
It is his gap.
No, it is not his gap. It's not his gap.
You know why it's his gap? You do know that if you in C gap, and C gap,
he's not.
If they close down and they block down, that means C gap going with you.
Exactly.
So here's my thing.
Which is why he's going down.
But you got to keep your shoulders square. When you go down, look, he turns his shoulders, it's wrap. You close down here, keep your shoulders outside shoulder free, right down the line of scrimmage. That's the technique. That's it.
Okay. He keeps square and go down. Guess who he runs into? JOK, because he decided to go underneath a block, which you know that you should never do.
The only reason
if anything, you want to get outside and send it back to your leverage. Am I right?
JOK is wrong in that area.
Thank you. All right, thank you, because that's the big problem that nobody's addressing.
JOK was wrong too. But
thank you for saying that.
But I'll keep it real. But the problem with him is he wouldn't have even been that close to him if he wouldn't have took 2 false steps. You know you can't take no false steps back there. His coach is telling him that today.
How about this, G? How about this? At the end of the day, I
hope the Browns are screaming.
No, at the end of the day, you're responsible for doing your job. My job is my gap. Okay, I can't be worried about having to try to sight adjust for somebody because I trust that guy's going to do his job. So therefore, my gap is the C gap. So I am going to hold the C gap and trust that my people are going to do what they're supposed to do. Hold on, because this is what the problem is. You get out there and you try to be Superman, and now you end up busting coverage and you start busting stuff. That's where the stuff happens because you're trying to overcompensate for somebody else. Do your job. If your job is to get the D gap and go over something to get there and leverage the ball, do that. That way I can do my job.
That's on JOK. I get you with
Thank
that.
you.
But what I'm trying to tell you is, and this is the problem, and it's so eloquently put out, he knows what he's talking about. But here's what I'm going to say. The problem with the Cleveland Browns is this. Everybody think it's just good enough to be in your gap. My coach said, listen, we recruited you. You're the #1 player. You're the highest player you ever got. Your job ain't to be in no gaps. You got to make plays. If you don't make no plays, we going to get fired. And the bottom line is we got a lot of people out here making when I turn on the tape and I see the Troy Polamalu's and I see the Ed Reeds and I see these guys out here making plays, you know what they say? I already know what the down and distance is.
Tyvus's guy, Von Bell.
He make plays. It's about making plays. Sometimes it's that innate thing inside you that says, I know what time. I watch my film. I know what it is. But sometimes you got to make a play. I don't see nobody making no plays. There's too many people in gaps talking about it ain't my fault. Listen, you ain't never supposed to think somebody else is going to make that play, ever. If Tyvus is playing, I don't even know where Tyvus is in the back because I think I got to make the play. My thing is, if you're going to be back there and you on the goal line, you understand what it is. You got to at least tell yourself, I'm never going to not show the most passion and effort getting to that ball. I don't care if I got to dive, whatever I need to, because at least the coach can say, your technique was terrible here, but that's great effort on backside. And if we had great effort here, and then corner had great effort, and JOK has great effort, you can game tackle somebody. But I don't never want to see no defense ever hand the ball to a running back and you got 2 dudes near him and you don't even attempt to tackle him. That is what is going to cause you to be a 1, 2, 3 win team, and it's been happening for years.
So let me ask you guys this. I kind of want to recap with both of them for a second, Mikey.
Then I got a question for you guys.
Okay. So is it fair to say, both of you, that JOK didn't do his job on the play? Okay. Is it then fair to say, as G suggests, that John Johnson initially was doing his job properly.
Yes.
But had bad technique, and that didn't allow him to make up and do his job the second time around.
You could say that his footwork could be better, and if he had better footwork, it would have put him in a better position to recover.
Okay, and then thirdly, at the very least, shouldn't John Johnson have, even if he's going to end up missing, made an attempt to dive and
I
get the
agree.
legs?
He could have dove.
Okay.
I don't think it would have done anything.
Okay,
but I think he could have
even
at
if
least
there's
put
a
it on
5% chance,
because he
shouldn't
stepped
he have
under.
done it?
Yeah, he should have. Yes. If you want to show that you're selling out with effort, yeah, you should dive.
So it's fair to at least be somewhat critical of him.
Yes, but from a defensive play standpoint, JOK messed up when he went underneath the block. The corner could have came, condensed the play down. If he would have met that fullback, the gap would have been smaller. And guess what?
And the corner,
even if he stepped under himself, had bad footwork, that gap would have been so small he could have made it.
The corner, he's right. The corner has to constrict, especially when you're being kicked out.
He sat there and waited on that fullback.
Because if you do, the gap goes from this big to this big because the backside is blocking down and you're staying right here. So the C gap just became from here to here.
So wouldn't we all agree that this has been a consistent problem of guys not doing their job, that we've seen this all year with this defense?
Yeah, but
and that ultimately, yeah, you can blame the players, but that goes back to coaching as well.
No.
Okay.
No, because that's just JOK did that because he took the easy way out. He's an athletic guy, so he thinks, if I go underneath this, I can still make that play.
They call that shooting the gap. If you shoot the gap, you're dead. If you shoot the gap and you try to go backdoor to play, if you don't make that tackle,
it's over.
So he can catch him from behind, in other words.
Because you think about our linebackers are not traditional linebackers. They're not the big physical guys. They're speed and agile guys. Right. So he thinks, if I can go underneath this, I can still fast enough to come around and still make it.
So
and that didn't happen.
Is he just not fast enough?
No, he just got to do his job.
He just did his job wrong.
He just did what he wanted to.
But my whole point of bringing the play up is that G is just basically gun-ho. It's John Johnson's fault the whole time. I'm saying the corner and JOK didn't do their job, which made John Johnson's job even harder, which it wasn't even his play to make to begin with. But effort, I can't say nothing about the effort.
All of the plays that have busted for the Browns this year, and you've watched every play.
Yeah, that all 22 is great.
It is great because it shows the deficiency jumps off the screen at you. You can say, there's the breakdown.
Yeah.
Who is most responsible? Which player is responsible for being in the wrong spot more than any other?
Probably JOK, right?
No, actually.
First of all, the fact that it's hard for him to answer.
Actually, to be honest with you, it's a lot of times on some of them runs where actually Phillips be the one out of place.
Phillips, that's why.
Like the Stevenson one against the Patriots, I thought it was because JOK did, they called it like a coffee house technique. No, they went front side A gap, and Jacob Phillips literally got moved. All he had to do was put himself this way. He went this way, created this big gap, and he hit it.
Yeah.
When you look at the roster construction, this is why people talk about Andrew Berry. Unless you guys are going to watch the film and break it down like that, Tyvis just said something. He said, look, these guys are not traditional linebackers. They're very light. These guys are light in the pants, and when you got light guys up front, you gotta have monsters
at D tackle.
It has to be. And those dudes have to do two things: penetration and take up blocks. It should take 2 blocks for you to move the defensive tackles. And the problem is they got guys who aren't big, and they're not strong, and they're soft, and then you got light linebackers.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's why the run game is so effective. That's what I'm saying.
The Browns' mistakes
is never addressing that defensive tackle position.
Well, again, they did. They just addressed it wrong.
They picked the wrong guy. You got to get some big, strong guys, because the whole point of having agile linebackers is so they can free flow to the ball. They get there faster than anyone. But they can't because the dang 300-pound lineman and pushed up on them is hard to get off.
We got to bring in the Bengals reporter, but before we do, I want to ask one question. It's more philosophical in nature, but is it safe to assume that the Browns the bet the Browns have made is that you're better off with lighter, faster, athletic guys is it safe to say that's just not working right now?
It's not working now because you don't have the personnel. And that's what I told y'all like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I said it's not the scheme, it's the personnel. If you had better defensive tackles, then your theory will be correct
so
because they keep them free.
You don't necessarily have to go bigger and stronger at linebacker.
No, you don't have to because you have to find a way to have your
year go from thinking JOK was that guy to finding out for sure he's not.
Well,
their defensive tackle play, which wasn't great last year, was better than this year.
They have guys that were in the backfield. Take a look at their play.
Yeah.
He might not have been in his gap, but what's this guy that runs around naked?
And a lot of linebackers.
Oh, McDowell.
There's a lot of linebackers now are not that big. Like, the position has gotten smaller.
No, the NFL has trended away from the big linebacker to the fast, athletic linebacker.
Yeah.
You just got to get the right ones. All right, let's bring in Ben Baby. He covers the Bengals for ESPN. Ben, we've been arguing about a myriad of things. One of the things that we talked about with this Bengals team is their passing game now, particularly last week, really seems to be hitting on all cylinders. And we kind of think that the Bengals now are going to rely more on that. And even though they have Mixon and the Browns have been soft on the run, I think the Bengals are going to do what they do best, and that's throw the football. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's interesting when you talk about it. A couple weeks ago, we asked, I guess it would have been last week, asked why the Bengals pass so much. And they said, New Orleans been good in the run game, and so we decided to throw it around a little bit. I think it might be a little more complex than that. I think when you look at it, this is the most comfortable Joe Burrow has looked since he had his appendectomy. That was an emergency surgery right at the beginning of training camp, the first 5 weeks. We saw a lot of shotgun looks, a lot of rollouts, and now in the last couple of weeks, we're seeing a lot of 11 personnel with those 3 wide receivers on the field, 1 running back, 1 tight end. Burrow and shotgun, a lot of empty formations. And basically, when you see that, that's basically the Bengals declaring war on opposing defenses. And they're saying, we're going to spread you out. We've got a lot of resources. We feel like we've got one of the best receiving trios in the NFL. Why don't you try to stop us? And so, we'll see how they approach this game against Cleveland. Obviously, one that's been a very physical game over the last couple of years that Cleveland's just had Cincinnati's number the last couple of seasons, so we'll see if that changes.
Yeah, it is really interesting. I thought when the Bengals and Browns played the first time last year that the Bengals were going to kill them. Obviously, and it didn't happen. The Browns killed them. And the second game, obviously, the Bengals didn't play any of their guys. But, Ben, I'm curious, and I don't want to put you in a bad spot, so if you want to not answer the question, no harm, no foul. But a lot of people judge coaches maybe fairly, maybe somewhat unfairly to some degree. It's strictly, on a small sample size sometimes, what's your win-loss record? And if you have a good win-loss record, we ignore the talent. We'll say you're a great coach, you're not a great coach. Okay? First 2 years in Cincinnati, everybody thought Zach Taylor was an idiot. Last year, they have a great year. Now, I don't know if you know this. I happen to be a Bengals fan. All right? I don't think Zach Taylor is personally a very good coach. I think he's a mediocre coach. I don't think he's a particularly good play caller. I think with the talent the Bengals have, their offense should be even more potent than it is if they had a better play caller. Anything I'm saying unfair? Again, if you don't want to answer that, I don't want to put you in a bad spot.
No. I mean, listen. I'm always ready for the smoke when it comes my way, so I'm never scared about that. But when you look at it, the point that you're making is something that Bengals fans have talked about as well. I mean, I'll tell you what, Zach Taylor should host a clinic on what it's like to be under the hot seat and basically invite every coach in America to come in, because when you look at what he did the last couple of years, what he, last season, it could have been easy for him to crumble and things for them not to go well, especially when you look at it, even going into December of last year, a playoff spot was not a certainty. They really had to do really well in December in order to make the playoffs and then go on the run they did. And then this year, what I find really interesting is that Zach, you look at how he's calling games now and how he was calling games the first 5 weeks. I think the real simple explanation in all of this is that Burrow is playing a lot better. And while Burrow was trying to find his footing, you never heard one word, one way or the other about why the offense looked the way it did. Instead, Zach really did a good job of soaking up all of that pressure, and he was more than happy to do so, and he enjoys it, to be quite honest. And then you see the last couple of weeks, this is what the offense was supposed to look like. We're seeing, the touchdowns per drive be among the best in the NFL, the points per drive. You pick any offensive metric the last couple of weeks, and yes, a very small sample size, but the offense looks like it did at the end of last season when they went out and lit it up against Baltimore, lit up Kansas City, and they won the AFC North. So we'll see what this looks like over the next couple of weeks. And I think you do have to give – I think the criticisms are more than fair, and Zach Taylor has heard them. And people were yelling at us to say, hey, we need to be a little harder. And I think it's the first time in my career fans have asked me to be harder on their team that I cover. So I thought that was quite amusing. But, I think that is what has made Zach successful. And you've seen the last couple of weeks, how the team has looked. And it's why Burrow has really enjoyed being here. And so I think it is I think the play calling criticism is more than fair. And if they do not continue this trend, then that will definitely come into question as the season continues. But Zach has shown an ability to kind of, put those questions at bay for now.
Ben, you think Zach is going to be more inclined to run the ball with Joe Mixon to get him going? He's after last year, he finished like 3rd in the league in rushing or something like that. Mm-hmm. And this year it's been kind of slow for him. And, the Browns haven't been great in the run game, as we just had this huge argument over it. Do you think this is the week that Joe Mixon gets going?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good test, like I talked about earlier, about how the Bengals feel about their offense. Do they want to, go with the ground game, or do they want to air it out a little bit? And last week, I felt like in that Falcons game is an ideal blueprint of what you want your offense to look like. You want to go out, open up a big lead early, and then let your guy in the run game cement things at the end. We saw them once they got a lead, they went under center a little bit more, some more traditional balanced looks. And you see that in the NFL, teams like to salt away the game with the running attack. And Joe Mixon is a guy who can definitely do that. And you're also making sure he gets his carries, gets his touches. And they've been using Mixon a lot in the pass game as well, especially when you've seen teams go with a lot of cover 2 looks. Burrow has been more than happy to check it down to Mixon if he doesn't feel like something's there. And we saw that against the Falcons as well. So, I'm a Texan at heart, and we play football a little bit differently like the rest of the country. And we've started to see it catch up, see it matriculate through the Big 12, through the SEC, and now into the NFL. And that, you don't necessarily need a dominant run game, to be a good offense. In fact, a lot of times you say, oh, we'll run to open up the pass. Well, the Bengals have shown, especially the last couple of weeks, it might be the other way around. When you pass the ball really well, it allows you to run the ball, and it affects the numbers in the box, especially when you look at how much they use 11, how much they use empty, how many light boxes Mixon gets. All of those things are definitely going to be in consideration, and we'll see how the Bengals attack Cleveland.
Ben, I just love hearing you talk about that whole last section. You talked about the fact that even though the Bengals have been to the Super Bowl, people have still got expectation levels. There's expectations for what they want to do. And maybe it's just me. I'm trying to get Cleveland to have expectations. Now, the crazy thing about it is if he's on the hot seat, I got a coach over here. Now, he's not really going to his strengths. He's not playing to his strengths. And you just talked about it. I could commend the Bengals. You know what they did? They think unconventionally. They didn't go they could have got Sewell and put him at left tackle because you should draft a lineman every year. No, they said, give me Jamar Chase.
That was smart.
It sent them to the moon. And now what do? Their best option is, hey, we might not be wanting to get the ball to Joe Mixon because that number 1 character out there, they can't really guard him. And so they're playing to their strengths. But on the other side, the Browns, we got a guy that people can't tackle. We got a backup quarterback. We got tight ends out. We don't have a really good second receiver. And we still can't seem to get that guy the same amount of respect where it's like, hey, you know what the Browns going to do? Come and stop me. Is it if you're looking at this game from a perspective, aren't the Bengals extremely happy if Nick Chubb gets 16, 17 carries? I think they take that and go and walk up out of here.
Yeah, the thing is with this, the Falcons run the ball as well as anybody in the NFL, and we saw that they ran the ball down the Bengals' throats in the game last week. The problem is the Falcons were already down 21-0, and you can't really – that's not a conducive way to attack Cincinnati, and especially, there's a lot – I think philosophically it's how you view the game, and one of the things I love about football is that you can think about it in a lot of different ways, and there are a lot of ways to say this is a winning way to play the game, and you can do it in a couple different options, and with the way Cincinnati does it, when you see Kansas City, you see Buffalo, and one of the reasons that those teams they gain so much respect or garner so much respect, I should say, is that those offenses can score points in bunches. When you have a quarterback like Josh Allen, like Patrick Mahomes, like what Joe Burrow played the last couple of weeks, you know that you can put a lot of points on the board. And if you have a run-heavy offense, if you're not getting explosive plays in the run game, you're eating up a ton of clock. The Bengals were more than happy to give up a 17-play drive, I think it was. They gave up 10 minutes off the clock. And, yeah, Atlanta scored a touchdown on that drive, but it ended up taking up a lot of times. And in the NFL, the games are so much shorter. There's really not that many possessions, which means you have to be efficient in the red zone, and you've got to convert touchdowns when you get those opportunities. So, I think the key, if Cleveland wants to run the ball effectively, they want to go with Nick Chubb, and the Bengals know how good that run game is. Bill Callahan has gotten a ton of respect from everybody in Cincinnati. The father of Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan, and a lot of people believe, including Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, said that Bill might be the best offensive line coach in all of football. So, I think for Cleveland, if you want to establish the run early and say that's the way we're going to play, we're going to keep those Cincinnati playmakers off the field, you can't get behind. So what happens in this first quarter is going to be pivotal to how the rest of the game is played.
Ben, I'm curious, some of the Bengals injuries. I know Jamar Chase, I don't know, I can't remember what it was. I think he tweaked his groin or something. You'll refresh my memory. And he left the game. He did come back, but he was, T. Higgins has kind of been questionable these last couple of weeks. I know Logan Wilson, one of their best linebackers, was out, maybe back this week. I think DJ Reader's still out. What's the updates on those guys for this game?
Yeah, offensively, it looks like T. Higgins will be good to go. He went full at practice last week for the first time since he had that ankle injury. Played the whole game with no issues. Jamar Chase, like you said, it had a hip injury, and it looked like it was affecting him a little bit, but he finished the game. And afterwards, he said he was fine. We'll see how they manage that throughout the week at practice, which will start tomorrow. Logan Wilson, it sounded like Zach Taylor was a little optimistic that he could potentially play this week. Now, DJ Reader, that does not seem likely, but with Logan, we'll see how they go through, and he's such a good linebacker for them. You haven't seen the Bengals be, as good as they've been, and we talked about that Cleveland rushing game. I think the Bengals have been, that run defense has struggled a little bit with DJ Reader out and Logan Wilson out. I think Reader's one of the best defensive tackles against the run in the NFL, and he's definitely something he takes a lot of pride in. And with the middle of that defense, it's hard to replace that kind of quality with Reader and then with Wilson. So getting Wilson back would be huge for this game, and we'll see how that goes as the week progresses.
Ben, one quick one before we let you go. We know that there was a little bit of talking between these two teams, particularly the wide receivers of the Browns and the defensive backs. The wide receivers of the Bengals and the defensive backs of the Browns. What's this Bengals team's mindset coming into this football game?
Yeah, I think they relish these kind of matchups. They know what Denzel Ward did to them last time. They know that this team has gotten the best of them. And, we're working on a story on ESPN.com about Joe Burrow, and he's got actually a lot of Cleveland ties. And, the one thing that, all the things that Burrow has accomplished in his first 3 years in the NFL, the one thing he hasn't done is beat Cleveland. And I talked to his dad, Jimmy, and he said that that's definitely going to be something that, Jimmy doesn't have to bring up to Joe. Joe's probably got that in the back of his mind going into this game. So it'll be making for an interesting storyline. And if you're the Bengals, you really can't afford to lose this, because then you would have dropped your first 3 games in the division in that first round of play. Lost to Baltimore, lost to Pittsburgh, and a loss to Cleveland. If you want to repeat as AFC North champs, going 0-3 to start divisional play, that's a rough way to start the year.
Yeah, no question. That's a tough way to do it.
Ben, before you go, we got to ask you about your boy Mikey McNuggets. First of all, what do you think of his new nickname? And can you tell us an embarrassing story about him from your past?
Oh, man, this guy just comes up, goes from College Station, comes up to Cleveland, all of a sudden gets this Mikey McNuggets mantra. I don't know. It's just Mikey, what happened? Our guy Mike Lucas, he's been crushing. I'm happy that I don't have any good stories I can tell on camera. When you get me on the side, maybe we have to say something.
All right, we'll have to talk to you.
Hey, Ben, Joe Thomas gave me that nickname, by the way. Joe Thomas.
Hey, listen. You can justify it all you want. I'm just saying, you changed it. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
That's funny.
It's still what
Thanks,
it is,
Ben.
Mikey McNuggets.
Appreciate it,
Ben,
man.
great job, man. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Ben. See you
Appreciate
Sunday, man.
having me.
Really well done.
My
You can see
favorite-
now why he covers the Bengals.
He's
for
good.
ESPN.
I liked what he said. He said, "But I ain't ducking no smoke. I'm always down."
I
I like
that
that.
too.
I like
'Cause I
that.
didn't want to put him in a spot where he had to criticize the coach, if he wanted.
Yeah,
Right,
but the
whatever.
good ones don't care
Yeah.
if it's warranted.
If it's
and-
the
Right.
truth, then
Yes,
it is
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah. Now
So,
it's different. We
hold
can
up.
sit here in our chairs and we never have to go.
Right,
into
we
the
don't have to
locker
go in the
room.
locker room.
So
Yeah.
it is very tough for the beat reporters
Says
to
who?
come out on a
It's-
limb.
yeah.
But I like his ability
no,
to
he's-
do
he's
that,
good.
and he's not hesitant to do that at all.
All right.
So while Earl's
I
passing
think
out
I-
the
I
true
think
and
I
false
would
boards,
say
I
it.
got a
thank
quick
you,
Ben
Earl.
story for
Yeah,
you
you
guys.
can't say it.
And I loved how he said, "I'm never scared of the smoke." He was the harshest critic of A&M.
I love
He was
it.
The Dallas
Love
Morning
it.
News, and when he came,
Well,
to-
that's why he's at ESPN right now.
When
He's
he
a
came
great
to
follow on
College
Twitter. I
Station-
follow him on Twitter. He does a great job.
when he came to College Station,
Thanks,
it usually
bro.
meant
Hey,
something
pass
big
me a
was
paper
brewing.
towel.
And there was a little disagreement, and Ben's actually a former amateur boxer. He's 1-0 in his boxing career.
No kidding.
Next time he comes back on, we can ask about it, but he got a little disagreement with another media member and asked,
boy.
"Do you want the smoke?" and turned into his classic catchphrase. So when he said to Bull, "I'm never afraid of the smoke," just all the flashbacks.
What did the other media member say? No, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I love Owen. He covers A&M for Texas. He's like 65, so it would have been but he's a lot bigger than
I'm a
Ben.
pro boxer. You want this
But he's a lot
smoke,
bigger than
65-year-old man?
I love that he said, "Do you want this smoke?" to a
I
65-year-old.
do.
I made
The
the
legend grows.
Are you guys ready for a little true and false here?
All right.
No. Before we get to that,
Yeah.
Who's the champ?
you already Tyvus is a champ, but who's really the champ is Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I need y'all to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Y'all playing around right now. We got 1,000 people watching live. We should theoretically have 1,000 likes, right?
That's true.
See that correlation?
We have
Yeah.
almost 17,000.
Subscribe and hit the bell.
There we go.
So
Oh,
today's
there's our
true or
music.
false is
Sorry.
Evan Mobley. We're going outside of the Browns realm, trying to throw y'all a little curveball. Let's see how well you know the Cleveland Cavaliers star forward. Let's take the first one here, Mike. Evan Mobley is a two-time Gatorade California Player of the Year. Is that true or false?
Why they got to go to
Watch the answer be no. He's a two-time Powerade Player of the Year.
I can
all
confirm
sport. Remember all
Powerade
sport?
does not give out the award as a
Okay.
Gatorade award. That is not. If I'm going to trick you, that is not why I'm going to trick you.
Okay, fair enough. I got a faulty marker.
And my marker's a little
Here comes
weak
Earl
sauce
with an extra
too.
marker.
Thank you.
I don't know if I.
This is really dramatic music as we wait on the
Oh,
It's
by
the
the
best
way,
music.
by the way, I won
Like
last time.
deal or
didn't
no
I?
deal music.
No, I won.
No, you
Mine's
wasn't.
crap.
No, he won.
What you mean I won?
He wasn't. He wasn't. He
They're
didn't win last
co-champs.
week.
I thought we were
won.
co-champs.
No, remember he gave his answers over the phone. It was the controversy.
Oh, we
7-1.
We wiped them down. Those not
I think we
wiped
called
down.
it
Are you
co-champ.
serious?
Those not wiped down.
Co-champ.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we did have timestamp text messages that he answered all the
We
questions
did.
within 90 seconds.
Yeah.
I say we give it to him.
Hey man, I said
Even though Jay was the one who accused him of cheating.
And listen, I
And
did.
we have Dave Richard.
That was bad on my part.
Yeah.
And I apologize for that.
All right, we got to go through them. I
Let's see
agree.
everyone's answer.
Here we go.
Is Mobley a two-time Gatorade Player of the Year? True. False. False. True. Two of you are right. Let's take it. Mike? Yeah! Hot start.
Yes!
He is a two-time Gatorade California Player of the Year.
If I'm gonna be wrong, I'm gonna be wrong
I
with
done
5 times.
I done came in second so many times. This is crazy.
Okay, question number 2.
Who you is, KD?
Mobley.
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
All right, did anyone see
Next
that?
question.
Nope, we didn't see
Next
it.
question.
No,
Next question.
That was false. We took it. So, Mike, let's go to the next question. That was false. Everyone gets a point for that one.
Right.
He's not the only
Was that the-
two-time.
Okay, got it.
Question number 3. So there's only 7 this time.
Okay, go.
Mobley was 6'6" in the 8th grade. Is that true or false?
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's real. Is it?
Ridiculous or real? That could be the name of the segment, too.
G. Bush is ready. His answer's locked in.
I'm scared.
Tyvus says true. Everyone else says false. Tyvus, are you going to pick up a point?
Nope.
Let's see it. Nah, fam.
Yeah!
how tall was he?
Yeah, I told
6 foot flat.
Wow, no kidding.
Big
Late
growth
bloomer.
in high school, yes.
All right, so we're all even, right?
Except
Nope.
me. I'm
G
dead.
and I have 2. You have 1.
Yeah, G and Bull have 2. Jay has 1.
I'm not even out of the
Is out.
game.
Wow.
Okay, we
been
ready for
champ.
question number 4?
Smoked.
I know.
Let's take it, Mike. Evan Mobley grew up with 3 foster siblings, including a Chinese exchange student named Johnny. Is this true or false?
What?
How is he Chinese?
sounds so
named
phony.
Johnny?
Is it so phony
That
it's
is
gotta be
real.
true?
That's what I was thinking too.
A Chinese person named Johnny? It's not a Chinese name.
I ain't got nothing to lose. I'm playing with house money.
That sounds.
House money.
That's so absurd that it's gotta be true.
True, and false. Tyvis, once again, man, you're the minority, and once again, Tyvis, you're wrong.
I'm going for the egg.
Foster.
I'm going for the egg today.
That is true.
You know why?
See, his real name isn't Johnny, but when he came to the States,
They called
didn't-
him Johnny.
Yeah, you couldn't say Jean-Jean,
Because
so they went
people
with
are
Johnny.
too dumb to pronounce other names.
By the way, that had to be true. Just look at his demeanor.
I agree with that.
His demeanor looks like he's very respectful of all cultures, and that's why he is who
How
he is.
does someone look like they're respectful?
He does.
of
I
all
feel like
cultures?
I don't understand that either, but I agree.
He just-
Even though I
we
don't
know him,
understand.
and we've heard him speak.
because
I
he like
guess.
him and his brother still stay with his parents,
He seems like a.
and they're
like
millionaires.
Yeah.
Dave Richards playing along with us, by the way.
Here we go.
Dave, we'll get to you in a sec.
All right.
Should have put him on.
G
Yeah,
and
no,
I are
he's playing
undefeated
with
right
us.
now.
Yeah.
Correct. All right, question number 5.
I'm one behind. Tyvis is 0-3.
Mobley is the second #1 overall recruit to sign with USC, following O.J. Mayo in 2007.
Ever?
No,
For basketball.
no. Since O.J. Mayo.
Since O.J.
No,
Mayo?
he's the second #1 overall rated recruit to sign
Ever.
with USC men's basketball.
Ever.
As in O.J. Mayo was the first.
Whoa. What is this?
Hold on, bring that back. Hold on. This is a trick question. Bring it back.
I will read it again. Mobley is the second #1 overall recruit to sign with USC basketball, following O.J. Mayo in 2007. O.J. Mayo was the first.
Now here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say. I should be able to get a point for this, and I'm gonna tell you right.
There's a lot of analysis over there. I don't know what's going on here.
I'm confused. Why should you get a point if you
False.
Let's go.
G. Bush, what do you got? False?
Why you're already waving the white flag?
And you guys are all correct. It is false.
Yeah.
It is false.
You see that?
And I can tell you
that's why
it's
you
false.
wave the flag.
Because
Wasn't Kevin Love the?
Cheryl Miller.
Kevin Love went to UCLA.
Oh yeah, you're
Cheryl
right.
Miller
Yeah,
was
you're
on that
right.
great
Yeah.
UCLA team.
No. I thought.
Wait.
No.
And she wouldn't count anyway. We're
No, I
talking about
thought
men's
that was-
basketball.
Hold on.
Cheryl Mills, O.J. Mayo was not even #1 overall recruit. It was false because he's the only #1 overall recruit to
But
sign.
didn't
How
Reggie-
many has USC had though?
One.
Didn't
Evan Mobley, that's it.
Didn't
That's
Reggie?
it.
Didn't Reggie? What's the name? I thought he
I
went to
can't
UCLA.
remember. But we got to
I
keep it
thought he
moving.
went to USC.
We got to keep it moving, right?
I don't know.
We're
but-
keeping it moving.
Keep
was
it
false
moving, keep it
regardless.
moving. Let's
it
go.
was false regardless. Next, Mobley's father, Eric, also played college basketball at USC. True or false?
That's tough. Let me see.
True. Whatever Jay says. True, false. The answer. Bull. Coming in hot.
Undefeated,
I'm
baby.
not listening to
I'm
Jay
back,
no
baby.
more.
I'm back.
Right now, Bull,
He's up.
5. Tyvis, 1.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever gone undefeated. This could be a
Nobody's
first.
ever got them all right.
We have 2 more, then we'll get Dave Richard and Dave. Dave's playing along. Dave
I'm
might
up
be the
one
longest, actually.
on G
2 on me.
and 2 on J,
Yes.
right?
I got to get these 2 right. Then we can
Okay,
go into a
let's take it, Mike.
Three-way tie,
a
maybe.
tie.
Mobley considers himself a Marvel nut and especially enjoys watching the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, that's a horrible show. The only Marvel show I don't watch. It's so bad. I forced myself to watch the first couple of seasons with Marvel. It was so
Agents
bad I had to
of
stop
S.H.I.E.L.D.
watching.
I don't like watching JV superheroes. I don't know
JV superheroes suck. I'm with you. True. But we're all saying
True. And please subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And you guys are all correct. You should.
Yeah!
Subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports
I can't
Show.
catch Bull
and
now.
it is true.
I can't. I need a Bull to say false on that.
I'm like the 72th. I'm potentially breaking the 72 Dolphins record here.
This is the hardest one.
Those
yet. Let's take it,
losers,
Mike.
those losers should put down those champagne glasses.
Evan Mobley is the tallest scholarship athlete in USC history to be videotaped doing a backflip.
Are you kidding me with that question?
Is that true? Or is that false? Bull, if you get this, you win.
And I'm perfect. If I get it wrong and G gets it, then we have
If
a
G
tie.
gets it right and you get it wrong, we have a tie.
Tiebreaker after Dave, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, don't.
Oh, I won. I didn't even do it on purpose, but I think I want to be undefeated though.
my 2-year anniversary.
So this is to see if Bulls can knock off the 72 Dolphins. They're the most obnoxious team in the history of football.
Oh, they're so awful. Those.
Oh, he's wrong. Evan Mobley is the tallest athlete to ever be recorded doing a backflip.
That felt like a fake
at
Mike
USC.
question. All right, I still won. My
But
first championship in forever.
Wait, you said false too?
Yes.
Oh, because you could have tied if you would have got that right.
Congratulations, Bull. It's time to bring in Dave
Thank you.
Richards. Dave, what's up, man?
Thank
How you
you.
doing?
I get
I'm
the
just
title.
glad Tyvus didn't get a single one right.
I
How'd
got
you do,
one
Dave?
right.
How'd you do, Dave?
You did?
Yeah,
Dave, what's up, Dave?
Whatever one he said.
Yo.
I got it right because of the G.
Dave, how'd you do in true or false?
I did terrible. When I thought about the Mobley OJ Mayo question, I was thinking Harold Miner might have been the first guy that USC recruited who was a former #1. So I got crushed.
You would think with all that great basketball talent in California that they would have gotten more
that's
#1
odd.
recruits, but
You
I guess
ain't do-
not.
You ain't do work.
No,
for me. I
UCLA
got
probably
2
has
right.
an edge on them when it comes to recruiting.
Yeah, especially back in the
Dave,
day.
we're big into buys now. I've got a quarterback on buy, and there's no quarterbacks available, so I'm not gonna bother asking
I threw my
about
cards
that. But
in.
who are your hot players that, in general, anybody that wants to win should be looking to pick up?
So you missed out on the running backs, Jay. They went off the waiver wire like crazy. Guys like Gus Edwards and Deontay Foreman and Michael Carter, they're not available in even 3/4 of CBS Sports leagues anymore. Chuba Hubbard's out there in about 1/3 of leagues. I like him in PPR leagues. Latavius Murray, I mean, we're getting to the desperation point of running backs. He's still out there in about half of CBS Sports leagues. One guy that I think should be added in deeper leagues is Jermichael Hasty. He's the new backup running back in Jacksonville. But enough about the running backs. Wide receivers. Darnell Mooney's still out there in 40% of leagues. Wan'Dale Robinson in 50%. How about a Cleveland guy, Donovan Peoples-Jones, out there in 80% of leagues? He's someone that's put up at least 12 PPR points. I think 3 of his last 4 games with a floor of 9 in each of the 4. He's someone that I don't mind. If you need a tight end, Greg Dulcich, can't say enough good things about him. He's out there in 65% of leagues. And Jay, Justin Fields is still out there. He's taking on Dallas this week. Not the easiest matchup, but 60% available in CBS leagues, and he's giving you at least 18 fantasy points in 3 straight games. He's starting to play better.
He really is.
Most leagues are. Do you play 2 quarterbacks?
I do.
Yeah, most leagues are. What percentage of leagues, Dave, would you say are 1 quarterback? Because I do all 2 quarterbacks also.
I believe it's
Superflex.
90%.
Are 1 quarterback.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize that. Dave, getting back to the running backs for a minute, a couple of guys I wanted to bring up. You brought up Michael Carter with the Jets. Now, obviously, they traded for James Robinson. What do you expect? I mean, maybe beyond this week, because James Robinson's just getting there. But going forward, what's your anticipation of the cap? By the way, I want to give you credit. I haven't mentioned this before. For those who don't know, if you don't follow Dave on Twitter, you're making a huge mistake. But one of the things he does that's really great for fantasy people, and even if you're just an NFL fan, I don't know where he gets this information so quickly, but he tweets out the breakdown of the running game, like the percentage of carries and the percentage of just plays on the field for every running back, and then he specifies red zone carries as well, which is really great.
That's
information.
a great distinction.
I love that. I look at that all the time. So thank you for doing that. It's a great job, very helpful tool. But anyway, what do you think? Speaking of percentage breakdown, what do you think the Jets is going to be going forward?
I think it's going to end up being Carter is like the 1A and Robinson nipping on his heels as the 1B. Robinson working in short yardage goal line situations. And I would say Carter would be the better back on 3rd downs and passing downs. But Zach Wilson doesn't throw to his running backs very much. That's a trend that we saw from him, not just last year when he was a rookie and this year, but also in college. He just didn't like to do that. He likes to throw downfield. And the offense in general, the type of scheme that they run in New York, it's very similar to San Francisco, not a system that tends to favor targets to running backs. So I'm a little bit worried about the upside for Michael Carter. And the poor guy, ever since he got to the Jets, it's been, you got to share with this guy, then you got to share with that guy. And even in college, he had to share. So he's the poster child for tandem running backs in this league. He's the better talent, but it doesn't mean that he's going to get every single touch. They have not committed to playing James Robinson this week. If Robinson doesn't play this week for the Jets, Carter would be a number 2 fantasy running back. But I expect Robinson to learn enough this week where he can handle some of the workload.
When it comes to Breece Hall or Javonte Williams, if you're in a keeper league, dynasty league, are you confident with him starting those guys starting next year or not really?
I'm confident that they'll start next year, but one of the projects I'm going to set for myself this offseason is how and why players aren't as effective in their first year back following a torn ACL.
Yeah.
And it's something that I really have to dig into. And I started thinking about it with Saquon Barkley, because it wasn't last year when Saquon tore his ACL. It was 2 years ago. And then last year he had all kinds of nagging injuries and some bad luck on top of it. Really wasn't at the top of his game. And now you look at him 2 years after the torn ACL, he's doing great. Chris Godwin's coming off of an ACL this year. He hasn't looked like himself. J.K. Dobbins can't stay on the field. Gus Edwards is coming off of an ACL. We saw him play well against Cleveland last week, but really I think a lot of that had to do, or some of it had to do, with the defense that he was playing and some of it with the blocking that he had. He didn't look like an explosive runner, just a powerful runner. So I'm a little bit worried about what it means for Breece Hall and Javonte Williams going into 2023, and I will probably be a little bearish on them when it comes to ranking them next year because they're coming back from such significant surgeries.
You know, Dave, when you look at some of these leagues, higher scoring leagues, and now that there's some buys for some top players like quarterbacks, are there any teams like defensive teams or defensive players that could really push you over the top if you're in a really competitive game available out there in the waiver, or just teams that you should look for in general?
Well, it's an excellent question. The first thing that I would point out is go do a double check to make sure that the Eagles and the Bills are not available as far as DSTs go, because they were on bye last week. There might have been some fantasy managers that cut them. On CBS, you're not going to find them. They're already rostered already, but on some other sites, you might find them. You can pick them up and never take them out of your lineup. Those are good defensive units that you don't have to worry about bye weeks anymore because they've already had them. But one thing that you need to do, and this is something that a smart fantasy manager does, is they always weigh the DST that they have versus the other DSTs that are available. And if you've got a slam dunk unit, if it's the Eagles, the Bills, I think the Cowboys would qualify. 49ers, I think, still qualify as a slam dunk unit. You don't have to bother double checking. But if you've been getting by with the Broncos, or maybe it's the Titans, you might want to just double check and see what other DSTs are out there, which ones have a pretty good matchup. For example, this week I like the Titans DST. I like their matchup. The Commanders, I like their matchup. They're taking on the Colts with Sam Ehlinger as their new quarterback. So there's all kinds of opportunities out there if you don't have a DST that you completely trust, regardless of the matchup.
Dave, I got a couple health-related guys, Evans and Waller. Do I sit these guys, or do I keep them in my lineup?
You're asking about Mike Evans and Darren Waller?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Evans is going to be good to go. It's the short week game. Not the easiest matchup for Brady. And honestly, I think Brady just wasn't himself last week. Neither was Evans. Evans dropped that walk-in touchdown on a deep bomb. I know you saw it. And he had another drop on top of it. There was a 25-yard pass that went right through his hands. I'm starting him until I see Darren Waller practicing again. He's kind of out of my mind as someone that I want to start. He's got to stay on the bench. Dulcich, that's a name that I already gave you at tight end. He's available. Evan Ingram's another one, although I don't love his matchup. Cade Otton is an interesting guy. He's had at least 10 PPR points in each of 2 games he's played as the main tight end for Tampa Bay, and he's going to see a lot of snaps in play this week against Baltimore.
I got a quick one. At the flex, I got 3 names. You tell me which one I should play.
Okay.
Brandon Ayuk, Brandon Cooks, or Herbert from the running back.
Khalil Herbert.
Khalil Herbert.
Chicago. Yeah, it's going to be Ayuk. We've seen him really put up great numbers the past couple of weeks. He's seen double-digit targets each of the past couple of weeks. And the thing that he's had in common with those games is that the 49ers have trailed and lost those games. They're taking on the Rams this week. Usually the 49ers handle the Rams. They do a good job against them. So I'm a little bit nervous about Ayuk, but I'm less nervous about him than I am the other guys that you're considering. Brandon Cooks has been on the side of a milk carton. No one knows what's happened to him. He's just been getting double teamed a lot, and the quarterback there has been so up and down in Houston. He's bench material as well.
James Conner coming back this week, you think?
I don't know. And even if he is, Bull, I'm not sure if he's the best running back for this offense.
Eno Benjamin's been good.
He really he surprised me. He was somebody that I was not very high on when he came out of college, and even 2 weeks ago. Just wasn't very high on him, didn't expect him to be as good as he's been. This Cardinals offense, I think they're trending in the right direction. Their defense is definitely trending in the right direction. They might end up being a lot better than we thought that they would be, and that's going to lead to opportunities for their run game in general. Benjamin's much more explosive than James Conner from what we've seen so far this season.
Before we let you go, McNuggets has some viewer questions. Mike, you want to rip them
we
off
got these real quick, and they're always brought to us by PCC Airfoils. Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. We're going to play Eddie's jingle after Dave gets off of Dave. Expensive Jet wants to know, do I even bother keeping Cam Akers through the deadline, or do I cut bait now?
It depends on who else is out there and how badly you need a running back. But if you're kind of in a situation where you're good with your lineup and you don't need to pick anybody up, yeah, you hang on to Akers through the trade deadline and see what happens.
And this from some Corey Noble. Hey, Dave, should I trade Aaron Jones and Clyde Edwards-Helaire for Kamara and Najee Harris in a half PPR league? Haven't been using
Sounds
CEH
good to
much
me.
Anyway.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. Kamara's certainly got a lot of upside left, and you're not quite selling high on Aaron Jones, but I'm not sure how many games he's going to have, like the one he had last week where he caught 2 touchdowns. Really don't see that happening. This Packers offense is kind of a mess right now.
That it is.
Awesome. Dave, thanks as always.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, man.
Talk to you later.
You got it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Before we do final takes, we have a very special jingle from Eddie about PCs that we do have to play today.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen it yet, you guys are in for a treat.
I have, but
Mike, let's take it.
Jable G, come with me. Very neat. PCC, let's get some airfoils. Ooh-wee. PCC. PCC.
Eddie!
He looks like Bull's redheaded, more talented singing brother.
Oh, there he is. Eddie's my man. I love Eddie.
That is great.
Thank you, Eddie.
We got to get Eddie in studio. Let him watch the show one of these
He
days.
doesn't live around here is the issue, and he works in social services.
Yeah.
So I talk to Eddie all the time. He's a good guy.
Trust me, he would come down here if we could get him in.
Eddie, if you want to come in,
he'd
we'll
be
let
very
you in.
excited to come down
We'll
here.
let you in one day.
That's great. That's really well done.
All right, final takes, rapid fire. Bull, you're up first.
You know, this morning I did not. I woke up at 4 a.m. today. Couldn't sleep. Laid in bed for a while. Tried to fall back asleep. I couldn't. Finally got out of bed at 4:45. Got on my computer. Blah blah blah. And I had. And so I go to record my podcast at like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I planned to talk about the Browns, and my question was, is it as bad as we think it is? And I think it's bad right now. I think the big picture of this team is not as bad as we think, because I think Deshaun Watson is going to save the day. But it's not going to happen until next year, but we'll see signs of it this year. However, what I ended up doing for the first 17 minutes of my podcast, not purposely, I ended up going on this journey of discovery that hopefully people will enjoy. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was a terrible 17 minutes or a good 17 minutes or somewhere in between. And it really had me thinking. And the reason it was is because, and this is going to sound political in the beginning, but I'm telling you it's not. Well, it is, but it's not biased one way or the other. So I saw a tweet from Jim Jordan, who's a congressman, of course, in Ohio, who I obviously see things differently than he does. And he tweeted something really nasty, right? And I said to myself, man, he is such a nasty person, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought to myself, I said, well, so am I, and so are we as Democrats, and so are Republicans. We're all nasty to each other, right? I don't know what made me just like think about it this morning, but I just did. And I was like, we're all so nasty to each other. The reality is, and I got there because somebody had tweeted me yesterday that Browns fans are idiots. And this was a Browns fan tweeting me that Browns fans are idiots. And then I thought about the fact that we make fun of Pittsburgh, or we say New Yorkers are obnoxious, or Californians are lame fans, or Florida fans fall asleep in the stadium. And the reality is that most people, no matter what your political party, no matter what city you're from, no matter what about you, I believe, or I choose to believe, as cynical as I can be, that 90% of people out there, in a one-on-one basis, maybe even higher than that, but I'll say 90, are good people, right? We may have different thoughts on, we may all have different ways to get to the same things, but a lot of us want the same things. We have different ideas on how to get there is what I'm trying to spit out, right? And I think that's important. And I think when we say things and we generalize, Republicans are this, Democrats are this, I know this is not going to make a change. I know I'm part of the problem at times, and so I'm going to try to not be part of the problem. And also when it comes to insulting other fans, because I think if Clevelanders met a bunch of New Yorkers, and if New Yorkers met a bunch of Clevelanders, and Clevelanders met a bunch of Floridians and Texas and all this stuff, I think for the most part people would get along if you met on a one-on-one basis and had a reasonable conversation. And I just think we should all think about that when we go on social media and act like lunatics. Think of it. Just think about that it's another person that's probably not really that dissimilar to you in the grand scheme of things. Maybe just think about that for a second before you act like a lunatic, as I do sometimes, on Twitter or in any other walk of life.
Be kind.
Yeah.
Words.
I like that.
Go ahead, bro.
I'll be short and sweet. What I want to say is happy. Well, it's premature. I'm 4 days early, but I won't be here.
Right.
So I wanted to say happy 2-year anniversary to my wife. Thank you, baby, for putting up with me for 2 years, and you haven't killed me yet. We got a beautiful family. Thank you for putting up with my jokes, allowing me to come up here and do this show with these guys, and all the other things that I do, the many, many jobs that I have. Always holding it down and being a strong mom, but most importantly, an amazing woman. And, you know, somebody was asking me the other day, they was like, you and your wife are totally different. Like, she's so sweet and you so cold-hearted. And it was like, well, that's perfect, because that's why we work out. You know, you have came into my life and you've taken me, who was cold as an assassin, and kind of warmed my heart up and showed me, you know, to be tender and care about things. And vice versa, I've definitely made you a little bit tougher as well. So I think we work perfectly. We like Shaq and Kobe. We a dynasty. And 2 years down and forever to go, but forever seems like not enough time when I'm with you.
That's
Love you,
beautiful.
baby.
Wow. The poetic Tyvis. I can't
would
never
picture
say
him
you're
cold. Not at all.
And maybe you were, and she's done a terrific job softening
She
you.
has.
But I find
by the way,
you incredibly thoughtful.
back in my day.
I don't think you want to compare it to Shaq and Kobe, though. It didn't end well between them.
Yeah, I would. You could have picked a better duo.
You're right.
G-Bush, you're up.
Yeah, I ain't saying nothing about tender love or.
I think Tyvis is very sweet, G. It's okay.
I love him for that. I love that. I love that about him. I'm gonna have you come sing for me. What I'm talking about is, look, man. People say, "Dang, G. Bush, you in your bag the last week." I said, "Yo, this the type of bag you need to be in." Because guess what? There's a lot of cats that think that they're gonna just fast forward this season. No. I told you beforehand. I only care about winning. I only care about winning at the highest level. I don't care nothing about none of that other stuff. Man, we done sat here and fast forward these seasons way too often. I'm not about to sit here in October and make it comfortable for people to talk about it's about to be next year. No, I'm tired of seeing other people win. And I know it's a lot of tired of other people seeing other teams win. For me, there needs to be a level of urgency, because right now it's Camp Cupcake. Everything is sweet. Everything is soft. Guys is doing whatever they want to. Always understand this. I don't care nothing about what you look like, whether you're an alien. I always say it, and it's a lot of people in this city that's starting to look like hypocrites. You can't be on Baker. Y'all gave Baker Mayfield hell. And guess what? He should have got it, right? But that same energy that if you was on Odell Beckham Jr., if you was on Baker Mayfield, ain't no way I'm about to say this last year we not about to gloss over and punt on the season. You not getting it this year because Deshaun Watson is coming. That ain't going to work for me. And it shouldn't work for a lot of people, because right now they better at least have 7-8 wins, or at the end of the day, we might have to figure out what y'all doing in that unemployment line. I'm just being real with you, dog. Everybody ain't going to make the trip.
All right. I'll be quick. There's some news last night, that came out about Deshaun Watson's most recent accuser. And the Deshaun Watson legal team is taking an offensive mindset with it. If you haven't seen them, I'm not gonna go through them here. I don't know that they're legitimate. They appear to be, but his lawyer, Rusty Hardin, through some media members, released text. It wasn't even a text exchange. It was a text from the most recent accuser, the one who filed the most recent lawsuit, to Deshaun Watson. Now, again, I can't personally verify them. I haven't independently verified that those texts are from her to him. And I have seen cases before where texts have been faked through graphics and it makes it look like this person said that. So I don't know. Because she hasn't come out and said, I never sent those texts, or her lawyer hasn't come out and said, I haven't sent those texts, I am led to believe that they are legitimate. When you read them, they are incredibly damning to the accuser. And they are exonerating of Deshaun Watson, at least in this particular situation. And the reason I bring this up is because we tried to paint this Deshaun Watson thing as it's either this or it's this. It's one or the other. He's either a terrible guy or they're all lying. And I've always stressed, whenever we say always, all, never, none, when we're talking about a big situation like this, you really are in danger, because oftentimes the truth lies somewhere in the middle. What we can't do is say things like all women must be believed, or all men must be lying, or the other way around. All men are telling the truth and all women are lying. Don't use all anything in front of anything, because while some of these women might be speaking their truths, when you read these text messages, if you haven't, you can Google them, they're out there. When you read them, it paints a very, very dark picture of a woman who appears to be a spurned lover or was talking to someone who just had no interest in her. And there were references about big deposits being made. That, to me, leans towards leverage and blackmail and everything else. It's a dirty world out there. There's a lot of bad things going on. And I'm not saying this because I'm saying Deshaun Watson is completely innocent, but I'm also just bringing this up to say in some of these cases, there may have been some nefarious means going on to try to smear Deshaun Watson for a money play. And these text messages seem to prove that. That's about it. If you guys want to comment, we got a couple of seconds here, but
no, very well said.
No, I agree with that.
Dirty Pop?
It does look bad. Again, as you said, we don't know for sure.
No, that's why I wanted to make sure I prefaced by saying we don't know.
Yeah.
But the fact that her lawyer hasn't come out and said those aren't real, we've never seen those before.
I think it's fair to say that one looks pretty shady. I think it's also unfair for people now to say, "See, I told you they were all lying."
No, it doesn't prove that.
That's not fair.
That's why I said somewhere in the middle, and each case needs to be looked at on its individual merit, and move forward from there. Either way, Deshaun Watson is on schedule to make the start when the Browns go to the Houston Texans in Week 13. It will be their 12th game of the season. That's it. 22-hour break. Mikey, you want to tease what's up tomorrow?
Maurice Aditi and a new little segment we're going to test out. So we'll talk about it after the show.
Any teaser to that, or?
Yeah, it's a confidence meter, a little playoff of confidence meter.
Oh, I like that. So. Okay. All right. That's it. Enjoy the rest of your day. 22 hours from now, we'll see you right back here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Don't forget, if you're not already, subscribe to the page and hit the notifications so you can find out whenever breaking news happens when we're live. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.